Chapter-921-940 Shadow Cat found Tsunade. Thoughts flashed across Luhan's mind like lightning. Luhan's eyes darkened, then brightened again. The world in front of him had changed. This was a small mountain village, and it should be in the country of Vortex. At this moment, the village was full of cries of crying fathers and mothers. Some people were running, some were calling for a doctor, and some were crying while holding the corpse. Luhan was standing on the street in the center of the village. Right in front of him, several buildings had been turned into ruins. There were bloodstains and mutilated bodies on the ground. The shadow cat jumped to the top of Luhan's head. A few meters away from Luhan's side, Jiraiya and Orochimaru stood side by side. Orochimaru's face was cold, while Jiraiya looked at Luhan with a face full of surprise. This masked figure looked so familiar. Is this the real owner of Shadow Cat? What is the relationship with Orochimaru? The insight map shows that there is no green name. Where's the person? Luhan grabbed the Shadow Cat above his head and asked hoarsely. It was here 2 hours ago, and I almost found it. Shadow Cat lowered her eyebrows and pleasing her eyes, obviously afraid of being beaten, because Luhan told it to find Tsunade and then reverse channeling, but it didn't find. I asked you to come here, Orochimaru said. Luhan tilted his head to look at Orochimaru. I have already asked. 2 hours ago, Tsunade brought Hyuga Luoning to the village and bought a variety of rare herbs from the village herb collectors. In less than 10 minutes, hundreds of mysterious ninjas rushed to the village. At this point, Tsunade took Hyuga Luoning to break through and leave. Orochimaru pointed to the ruins beside him. This is the trace of their battle. In 2 hours, Tsunade should not have gone far. Okay. Luhan nodded, finally having useful information, and he was relieved. There is news from Tsunade, which means that she has not had an accident yet. Why is that knife on you? Jiraiya, who had been observing Luhan, suddenly exclaimed, and he saw the sword of shock on Luhan's waist. Luhan glanced at Jiraiya and said hoarsely, I borrowed it from Ali. Jiraiya became uncertain, looked Luhan up and down. He always felt that he had seen this masked man somewhere, but something was wrong. Luhan's height and shape were not special, it was common, and he disguised his breath and voice. Normally, Jiraiya would not guess at a dead person. You know Ali? Jiraiya asked again. Yeah, Luhan responded with a nasal voice, then immediately looked at Orochimaru. Where is this? Orochimaru took out the map scroll from his arms and unfolded a finger. It was in the south-central part of the country of Vortex, and it was probably 400 or 500 kilometers away from the location of Ali. Ali is still over there. Luhan nodded and said quickly, you and the shadow go to Tsunade, remember to leave a mark in the forest, at most half an hour, I will come back to follow you. Okay, Orochimaru responded. Luhan turned around and was about to leave. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something. He turned around and said, also, the enemies are a Megakure, Taki Shinobi, and the heretic god cult. Kill without mercy, Orochimaru replied coldly. Luhan dodged and disappeared. This guy is so rude. Who is he? How do you know Ali? Orochimaru, do you know him? When did you know him? Jiraiya asked in a row. Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya. In fact, he wanted to tell Jiraiya, but from Luhan's disguised voice, Orochimaru knew that Luhan didn't want Jiraiya to know his identity, so Orochimaru naturally couldn't say it. Tsunade's friend, Orochimaru said. Tsunade's friend. Jiraiya frowned. The more she thought about it, the more wrong she became. I met Ali, and Ali would even lend him the Sword of Astonishment as a treasure. Start with us to find Tsunade, and still protect Ali. Who is this? Could it be? Tsunade is looking for a man again. Ali's stepfather. The corners of Orochimaru's mouth twitched. This is what made you say. Cough cough. Jiraiya knew that she had lost her words and coughed a few times. Let's go on the road. ... The sky, Hiraishin is flying at extreme speed. Luhan flickered and appeared beside Hiraishin Kuwu, grabbed it, threw it out. The terrifying sound of breaking through the sky resounded in the sky. Hiraishin Kuu was several kilometers away in an instant. Lu Han appeared with Kuu again, grabbed it and threw it out. This is Lu Han's limit speed. After traveling 100 kilometers, Lu Han shot another Hiraishin to the ground, traveled another 100 kilometers, and then threw it. In this way, after more than 20 minutes, Lu Han sensed the Hiraishin kunai on Ali's body, but did not immediately return to Ali's side, but moved forward for a further distance. Kilometers later, he fled into the forest, leaving behind Hiraishin kunai. At this distance, Ali could already sense the Hiraishin kunai on Lu Han's body. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Call. A small figure appeared out of thin air. Ali. Why did you go? Ali, who was carrying a small burden, asked, a little angrily. Found your mother's whereabouts. Go, follow me. Lu Han said, and then disappeared. Ali felt that Hiraishin was 100 kilometers away, and he disappeared immediately and appeared beside Lu Han again. Lu Han picked up the Kuu that he had left behind, and blinked again. Ali followed up again. In this way, 4 times before and after, in less than 10 seconds, Lu Han and Ali appeared successively to the small mountain village where Tsunade had appeared. Hiraishin kunai, who was first thrown outside the village, then jumped up on the tree with Ali and glanced at it. Go. Lu Han and Ali chased after Orochimaru. In the bush forest, Tsunade ran fast with Hyuga Luoning on his back, along the river, leaving only a glimpse. Sister, why don't you just leave me and run around like this? There's no way. Hyuga Luoning crawled beside Tsunade's ear. Shut up, Tsunade replied impatiently. I can't get rid of the poison on my body, right? I know it, sister, you don't have to lie to me. Shut up, it's annoying. Whoa. A figure suddenly appeared in the forest in front of the river. Call, 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 call. Immediately after, another 8 figures appeared out of thin air, blocking the way of Tsunade and the two. Tsunade stopped abruptly. Chapter-922-Don't follow me. Tsunade subconsciously prepared for battle, then he could see who was coming, and then he relaxed. The 9 people on the opposite side were all wearing uniforms, masks, and the Konoha logo on their foreheads. They were Konoha Anbu ninjas. If it is said that clothing and equipment can be faked, then the eyes must not deceive people. The ninja at the head is Byakugan. Lord Tsunade, it's really you. The leader of the ninja said a little excitedly, but he didn't expect to be so lucky, and it took more than a day to enter the country of Vortex and found Tsunade. You are. Tsunade still looked suspicious. It's me. The ninja in the lead took off his mask and revealed his face. This person looked like he was 45 or 6 years old. Hyuga ninjas of this age were naturally not unknown in Konoha. Hyuga Burnin. Anbu at the age of 12, this guy was already the team leader of Anbu, and today, he is still the same, but the ranking is different. Hyuga Bonin, currently codenamed Bailey, is already the first team leader of Konoha Anbu. Already have the qualifications to be the captain of Anbu. It's you. Tsunade was completely relieved. Uncle Burnin. Hyuga Luoning cried when she saw Hyuga Burnin. Dear. When Hyuga Luoning joined Anbu, it was introduced by Hyuga Bonin. The relationship between the two is relatively close in the Hyuga family. Luoning. Hyuga Bonin greeted Hyuga Luoning with a smile, comforting. It's all right. This time Lord Hokage sent Anbu, Hyuga Scouts, Scout Brigade, and Jiraiya and Orochimaru to the country of Vortex. Hyuga Luoning cried and laughed, like crying with joy. Tsunade felt wrong, frowning slightly. How do you know that we are in danger? It's a message from Orochimaru-sama. Hyuga Bonin said. How did Orochimaru know? This, I don't know. Completely inexplicable. Orochimaru is in Konoha village, far away from the country of the Vortex. Can he not predict whether it will happen or not? If Hyuga Bonin said that it was the intelligence obtained by Konoha Anbu's investigation, it would be understandable, but Orochimaru. Sister, you can't be wrong, they're not fake, trust me. Hyuga Luo-ning, who climbed on Tsunade's back, said, then looked up at Hyuga Bonin and said, Uncle, what did I do wrong when I was 6 years old, punished by the patriarch uncle, the most serious one? Well, Hyuga Bonin recalled, if it wasn't particularly impressive, he would not have thought of what happened more than 20 years ago, yes. Oh, I remember that you and the patriarch were the young Master Hiyashi at that time. After you quarreled, it wasn't your fault that you were reprimanded, but you couldn't get angry, so you set the house on fire. That's right, it's not someone pretending to be. Hyuga Luo-ning immediately said to Tsunade. People were right, but Tsunade's face didn't look any better. Lord Tsunade, I will escort you to Ludu. No need. Tsunade didn't wait for Bonin Hyuga to finish speaking, then he refused decisively, and said, you guys go. This matter has nothing to do with you, the farther you go, the better. This. Hyuga Bonin looked at Tsunade incomprehensibly. You are too few, follow me, you will all die, and you will not be able to save us. Tsunade explained, shaking his head, it's useless, I don't want to drag you down. The enemy is very strong. Hyuga Bonin suddenly changed color. Anbu split up, and Hyuga Bonin's team is the strongest. 6 Jonin, 2 Elite Jonin, plus Super Elite Bonin, is it dangerous? Very strong, and a lot of dead people, Tsunade continued. They're just behind, and they'll catch up in 5 minutes. Hyuga Bonin's face is a little ugly, who is the enemy? Tsunade can't do anything either. If she encounters Jiraiya or Orochimaru, she won't run away. Either of them can kill all the opponents, but Hyuga Bonin is too weak. Tsunade didn't want to kill them. And their death will become very meaningless. It is useless to temporarily block the enemy. Hyuga Luo-ning is locked and tracked. Hyuga Luo-ning also reacted and figured it out, so she buried her head and didn't speak. Don't follow me, Tsunade said, and then dodged to drink, got into the forest and left quickly. Bonin Hyuga didn't think much of it at all, glanced at Tsunade, bit Kiba and waved, follow. 9 Anbu ninjas quickly crossed the river and chased towards Tsunade. Tsunade wouldn't let him follow, but Bonin Hyuga was leading a mission to save Tsunade. Tsunade has no right to order him. Although there are dangers, Anbu ninja never abandons a mission because of danger. After half an hour, Tsunade was ambushed in the forest. It was another wave of people. There were more than 60 ninjas in total. Tsunade had already discovered the enemy that could be tracked through the scent of Hyuga Luo-ning's body. Someone can track by scent. After more than 10 minutes of fighting, Tsunade led Hyuga Luo-ning to break through with all his strength. Hyuga Bonin, who had been following behind, waited for Anbu's 9 to arrive at the scene, join the fight, and help Tsunade out of the siege. More than 100 mysterious ninjas who have been chasing Tsunade since the small mountain village also rushed to the scene and joined the battle. Melee. At this point, not only Tsunade is breaking through, but Anbu ninjas such as Hyuga Bonin are also breaking through, because the enemy doesn't seem to want to leak the news and intends to kill everyone, and Tsunade and Hyuga Bonin are really not opponents at all. More than 100 kilometers away, there is a bush forest. Jiraiya and Orochimaru moved forward quickly. They were still tracking Tsunade, but the way of tracking, not relying on the traces left by Tsunade, but relying on the traces left by chasing and killing more than 100 enemies of Tsunade. Tsunade was fleeing. She is so experienced it's easy to leave no trace of a ninja, but since more than 100 ninjas are chasing and killing, how can they care about traces? A group of ninjas acted collectively, and the traces were very clear. Call. A figure flashed around Orochimaru, and then another small figure appeared out of thin air. The former is Lu Han, and the latter is naturally Xiao Ali. Jiraiya and Orochimaru glanced at the same time, and Jiraiya also glanced at Lu Han with divine eyes. Uncle Orochimaru, Uncle Jiraiya. Xiao Ali greeted politely, he knew the two of them. Chapter 0923_target. The four of them scurried through the forest, and gradually separated before and after. Orochimaru was at the forefront. He relied on the snake group to locate the traces in advance, so he led the way, and there was no need to stop. Luhan was behind Orochimaru, with Ali, and finally Jiraiya. Little Ali, long time no see, so big. Jiraiya smiled and ran to Ali's side. You don't come back often to see Uncle is very sad. HMPH, my mother didn't let me find you, saying that you were a bad person, always looking at some lustful things, for fear that I would learn badly from you. Xiao Ali told the truth. Jiraiya is a little embarrassed. Shadow Cat was originally crawling on top of Orochimaru's head, but when Luhan came over, it jumped on top of Luhan's head, and then jumped on top of Ali's head. Ali felt that there was a furry thing on his head. He didn't feel offended, but smiled and reached out to touch the Shadow Cat. Luhan turned back and glanced at the Shadow Cat, then looked at Ali hoarsely and asked, "Can you feel the technique?" No, Ali shook his head, he still couldn't feel the Hiraishin technique on Hyuga Luo Ning. Ali, who is this? Jiraiya suddenly looked sneaky, pointed to Luhan and asked in a low voice. In fact, everyone heard it. A new friend, but he knows his mother and Uncle Orochimaru. Ali said, we are very destined and feel so cordial. I want to marry him, but he won't. Bang! Orochimaru, who was running at the front, suddenly stumbled and fell straight out. Then he got up as if nothing had happened, and his whole body was shaking. Do you want to laugh? Luhan's face was full of adoration, and he glanced at Ali with a ruthless look. Swoop swoop, bless your sister. Jiraiya had a strange expression on his face, and after thinking about it, he felt that something was wrong. Tsunade and Orochimaru's friends, logically, he should all know each other, how could he not be able to figure out who it was? Uncle Jiraiya, you don't know him? Ali asked. Jiraiya shook her head. Isn't he Namikaze Minato? Of course not, how is that possible? Then he can fly. Snapped. Luhan slapped Ali on the back of the head, not letting him say, Hiraishin's technique, and then glanced sideways. It's windy, be careful of choking, don't talk. Oh, Ali shut up obediently, because he got into trouble before, so he became very obedient. In the forest battlefield, the melee has come to an end. Let's go, hurry. Tsunade quickly moved with Hyuga Luo Ning, shouting loudly. Anbu has only 3 living people left. Although the average strength is very strong, he can't handle the number of opponents. 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. Quote. Hyuga Bonin swirled rapidly, and the chakra hood emptied everything around him. When he stopped, he rushed to the nearest Anbu ninja, and shouted at the same time, retreat, this way. Tsunade, whose yin seal had been opened, took Hyuga Luo Ning away from the battlefield first, and then Hyuga Bonin also left the battlefield with the other 2 Anbu ninjas. Nearly 170 mysterious ninjas appeared before and after, but only 130 remained, and more than 30 died. They divided their troops into 2 groups. 80 people chased Tsunade along the way, and more than 60 people chased and killed Hyuga Bonin and others. No one can escape. Because this time chasing and killing Tsunade, it was a secret operation, for the treasure of Hangwang. If the news is leaked, especially when the Konoha Anbu ninja arrives, the money is really worth it. Although they have noticed it now and the news has been leaked, the mission will not end, they can only kill as much as possible. Ninjas all left the battlefield one after another, leaving behind only more than 40 corpses, some from the enemy ninjas and some from Konoha Anbu. The blood was thick, and the broken tree was still burning with flames. At the edge of the battlefield, a figure suddenly appeared in the bushes, white with dull eyes. White Zetsu clone. Lock on the target. White Zetsu's clone whispered, looking in the direction where Tsunade was leaving, then dodged and disappeared. More than 10 minutes later, 1 small and 4 figures rushed to the battlefield. Naturally Luhan, A. Lee, Jiraiya, Orochimaru. The corpse. Dead within 20 minutes. Orochimaru just glanced at it and analyzed the result. Luhan noticed that there were Konoha Anbu ninjas here. Jiraiya jumped on the big tree dozens of meters high, looked around, glanced, and then pointed to the northwest and northeast directions. There, and there are big trees that collapsed. It is the trace of the pursuit and battle, divided into 2 parts. Way to go. Anbu ninja joined Tsunade. Orochimaru walked into the battlefield and glanced at him. They are not opponents, they escaped separately. After that, Orochimaru turned to look at Luhan, how to chase. No one could be sure in which direction Tsunade was fleeing. 2 ways. Luhan thought for a moment and said, I will take Lee to the northeast, and you will take the Shadow Cat to the northwest. If I find it, I will channel the Shadow Cat. If you find it, the Shadow Cat will reverse channel me. Okay. Orochimaru nodded. Go. Luhan grabbed a Lee and disappeared. Jiraiya flickered beside Orochimaru and couldn't help but ask, who the hell is this guy? Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya, shook his head lightly and said, you can ask him yourself. ... Luhan took a Lee to the northeast, and the traces that could be traced were still clear. Although it was not as easy as Orochimaru's direct tracking with a group of snakes, Luhan's eyesight was astonishing. The speed is not slower than before. Too bad we can't go full speed. Because of tracking with Hiraition's technique, you must miss some areas, so you may miss tracking traces, for example, corpses killed in battles on the road. Is Mom right in front? Ali asked. Yeah, Luhan responded with a nasal voice. His heart was fiery. Finally found it. Luhan doesn't care about dangerous enemies. Killing them all is that seeing Tsunade is what makes Luhan the most excited. 10 minutes later. The insight map showed that there were more than 70 Yuhi points 5 kilometers ahead. Because Luhan was faster, it was getting closer and closer. Chapter 0924_corpse. Great Yuhi name. Evil God Sect Elder Level 60 Bronze Boss Corpse. Leading the team is Cage Level Existence. Luhan's breath suddenly became extremely cold. Ali gave Luhan a puzzled look, not knowing what was going on, but Luhan led him to speed up abruptly, and there was no need to follow the traces, because the enemy had already entered the scope of the insight map. Not long after. Stay here, be careful. Luhan said, leaving Ali, dodging and disappearing. The enemy was a kilometer away. 1 kilometer away, it was about to enter the grassland. The ninja team of more than 70 people moved at high speed in the forest before and after. At the front was an old man wearing a mask, his arms were exposed and his skin was dry like tree bark. On the back of his hand was a dark Yuhi. The Sasori, its tail is raised high, and the tail needle is turned over, pointing forward, and sometimes adjusts the direction it points. Where Sasori's tail needle points, the old man will lead people to run. Sudden, a figure with a black robe mask appeared in the team behind like a ghost, and then, the wind blade erupted. Futon Wind Style, the art of flower rain cutting. The magic of the magic ring of instant flower and rain cutting. The terrifying Futon Wind Style lotus flower bloomed in the forest, and all the surrounding trees were destroyed. When a large number of ninjas moved in the forest, although the formation would be scattered, Luhan still killed nearly 30 ninjas with this blow. Who? The old man with Sasori called Shiji turned around and shouted. The killing has only just begun. ... Meanwhile, in the other direction. Jiraiya and Orochimaru rushed forward, saw a corpse in the distance, and disappeared at the same time, and then they all appeared next to the corpse. It was the corpse of the Konoha Anbu ninja, and Orochimaru lifted his mask. This person he knew, named Takashi Yumino, Anbu's code name, Satooth, was an elite Jonin. The body was wounded in more than 20 places, and the death was tragic. Alas, Jiraiya sighed, but unfortunately he didn't have time to collect his body for burial. Orochimaru jumped up to the height of the tree, looked around, frowned, then jumped to Jiraiya's side and said, it is divided into two roads, north and west. At least 2 people are still alive, and those who are chasing are also divided into 2. Dial. We're going separately, Jiraiya said immediately. Okay, Orochimaru nodded. Crawling on top of Orochimaru suddenly stood up and meowed twice before saying, No, no, you still don't separate. The enemy is very strong. If it's just one person, can you really save people? Jiraiya gave Orochimaru a hesitant look. Both of them are already strong in pervert, but this time, there are not only many people who are chasing Tsunade, but also dead men. The upper limit of strength is unknown. Jiraiya feels that it is impossible for him to be in danger, but if he is fighting to protect Tsunade at the same time, I don't know if it works or not. We separate, you go together, I go to the north, you go to the west. Shadow Cat said again. This guy is very intelligent and can analyze the task situation independently. Are you strong? Jiraiya spread her hands, feeling that Shadow Cat's proposal was unreliable. I'm just average, but I can channel the master. Shadow Cat said. How strong is your master? Jiraiya asked. It's strong enough, Shadow Cat said, then meowed and disappeared. Reliable. Jiraiya gave Orochimaru a worried look. Yeah, Orochimaru nodded, looking west. Come on, let's chase over there. Few minutes later, Jiraiya and Orochimaru caught up with more than 20 enemies and saw the body of an Anbu ninja. The two teamed up to kill the quartet. Almost at the same time, the Shadow Cat also caught up with the enemy, but it ignored it and continued to chase, and then found Hyuga Burnin who was desperately fleeing. Trace is broken, Tsunade is not in this direction. Shadow Cat doesn't know Hyuga Burnin, so naturally he doesn't care about him, and it seems that Hyuga Burnin is about to escape. It began to move randomly over and over, aimlessly looking for Tsunade. The forest was filled with a thick green poisonous mist, and the ground was full of corpses. The bloody gas mixed with the poisonous gas to form a disgusting smell. There is only one enemy left, and the others have been killed by Lu Han. Damn it, who the hell are you? Jeji roared in the poisonous mist, and then laughed madly like a psychotic. Ha ha ha, no matter who you are going to die. On the towering tree hundreds of meters away, Xiao Ali stood on the branch, looking at the battlefield from afar, with a worried expression on his face. Violent chakra fluctuations suddenly came from the green poisonous fog, and then the area covered by the poisonous fog began to expand. Ha 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 ha, come on. You can't break my poison pot. Ah. Poochie. In the poisonous fog, the light of the sword suddenly lit up, the voice of the corpse abruptly stopped, and a big head rose into the sky. Call _. The strong wind blew away the poisonous mist. Lu Han stood on the battlefield full of corpses in tattered clothes. Even the mask on his face was corroded and pitted. He let out a long breath. This corpse still has some skills. Yes, Lu Han took a lot of time to kill him. The corrosive poisonous mist had already ruined his clothes, and the skin on his arms had already rotted. However, as a subversive, these are small problems, and the wounds on his body are healing quickly. Secret technique, even dressing technique. Lu Han hand seal, with a flash of white smoke, he changed into new clothes and new equipment. Whoa, Ali appeared beside Lu Han out of thin air and asked worriedly, are you all right? It's okay, Lu Han smiled. Just now, there are a lot of fireworks. Ali said, too much curiosity, what are those? I'll tell you when I find your mother. Lu Han replied casually, his eyes suddenly narrowed. Crawling out from the corpse of the corpse, the dark Yui-colored Sasori child appeared to be a highly poisonous thing. It seemed to attack with its tail raised. Lu Han was afraid that it would hurt Xiao Ali who was close at hand. Nailed that Sasori to the ground. Unfortunately, he didn't know what this Sasori was doing. I'm not afraid. Xiao Ali seemed to understand Lu Han's thoughts and said very manly. Let's go, find your mother. Lu Han smiled and took Ali back on the road. Chapter 0925_Look, that cat. Leaving the forest is the prairie, and after that, Lu Han found himself lost. Really lost. Because Tsunade was running for her life, before Lu Han caught up with the group of enemies, she had already got rid of the group of enemies and kept running wildly. Look for Tsunade and you can't find it. On the endless grassland, Lu Han and Ali stopped and looked around. There were half-person high grass everywhere, and no one could be seen. You still can't sense the Hiraishin technique? Lu Han asked with a frown. I can't feel it. Ali still shook his head. Damn, what's going on? Lu Han frowned. Something was wrong. It stands to reason that Tsunade should be within a radius of 100 kilometers. According to the information obtained in the small mountain village, she was with Hyuga Luo Ning. It is impossible for the two to leave separately. How could Ali not feel Hyuga Luo Ning? Hiraishin technique. Is it because of the ring of isolation? Should not. The breath of Hiraishin, Eskanai itself does not belong to Hyuga Luo Ning. It has no effect on her. It just stays on her body, just like wearing a kind of jewelry. It is a coordinate breath. It will not produce any effect on Hyuga Luo Ning, any positive or negative influence. The breath is external, not internal. Unlike the control spell mark on Hyuga Luo Ning's forehead, it has already affected Hyuga Luo Ning's soul and became one with Hyuga Luo Ning. So Hyuga Luo Ning wears the ring of isolation. Hyuga main clan loses the control of the spell mark. Induction. Can you feel the Hiraishin technique on your mom before? Lu Han asked. Yes. Ali nodded. Lu Han is a little confused. Hiraishin's induction can't go wrong. Could it be that he is chasing in the wrong direction? Orochimaru they are chasing right. Or did Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning enter a completely isolated seal formation? Let's go. Lu Han pulled Xiao Ali and turned into a glimpse. Or look for it first. ... Dozens of kilometers away, Tsunade was still running fast with Hyuga Luo Ning on his back. There are no enemies anymore. When Tsunade understands that as long as the fragrance of Hyuga Luo Ning doesn't dissipate, she will always be found, she has to run farther, farther. Sister, where are we going? Hyuga Luo Ning asked. Ludu village, Tsunade replied. There, isn't it very dangerous to go there? Hyuga Luo Ning worriedly said. Last time we tried to approach Ludu village, but we were immediately discovered by ninjas who were chasing us. Those ninjas were ambushing near Ludu village. Are all still there? Hunted Tsunade had long realized that Tsunade might seek refuge in Ludu village. Therefore, people have already been deployed there. Last time Tsunade brought Hyuga Luo Ning close to Ludu village, and when they were still 70 kilometers away from Ludu village, they were attacked by several waves of people. It's not too much, there are only 60 people in total, but the average strength is extremely strong. Tsunade was seriously injured that time, and the chakra was almost exhausted before he escaped. Fortunately, he had the art of creation and regeneration. This time is different. Konoha already knows about me being hunted down. Tsunade explained. Around Ludu village, there will definitely be a large number of Konoha scouts going back and forth to transmit information. We will go over this time to break through the possibility of escaping into Ludu village. It's huge. Oh, yes. Hyuga Luo Ning responded, nodded, and then climbed on Tsunade's back without speaking. She wants to cry. If you can't break through and enter Ludu village this time, what should you do next? Blame her. If it weren't for taking care of her safety, and forcibly breaking through with Tsunade's strength, who could stop her? Neither Tsunade nor Hyuga Luo Ning noticed. Behind them, there was always a white shadow following them like a ghost. 2 days later. Ludu village, the largest trading village in the country of Vortex, is 100 kilometers away to the south. Covered with dust and dried blood, Tsunade ran fast with Hyuga Luo Ning on her back. Her face was very tired, and the corners of her mouth were dry and cracked due to lack of moisture. For the past 2 days, Tsunade hadn't slept. The only rest was a day ago. She just rested for less than an hour. She took Hyuga Luo Ning to Ludu village by taking a detour, and she couldn't walk in a straight line at all, so she would definitely be intercepted by the enemy. The enemy could predict where they were going, Tsunade understood. She can't stop now. The distance from Ludu village is getting closer and closer. The enemy is afraid that they have tracked the fragrance of Hyuga Luo Ning, so they can only keep running. Enter Ludu village as soon as possible. There are at least hundreds of Konoha ninjas there, and you're safe there. Clap Lala. Out of the forest, there is a river ahead. Tsunade quickly crawled by the river, took a few sips of water into his mouth, put down Hyuga Luo Ning and let her drink some. Hyuga Luo Ning also took out the water bottle and filled it up. Less than 20 seconds before and after, Tsunade put on Hyuga Luo Ning again and ran. Just after Tsunade drilled into the opposite forest, behind the trees on the side of the river, a white figure popped its head, staring at the back of Tsunade's departure. White Zetsu clone. He suddenly turned his head and glanced west, as if there was something there, before following Tsunade again. More than 20 kilometers to the west. This way. Ju walked away in the forest, flashing frequently, and behind him, a figure with a mask on his face and a chain hammer and sickle in his hand followed him, Hanzo. How far? Hanzo asked suddenly hoarsely. About 27 kilometers. Ju Dao, half black and half white, glanced back. Our people are following Tsunade, I can feel it. ... Tsunade was still running, because the speed was too fast and the wind was strong. Hyuga Luo Ning climbed on her back and had to turn her head sideways, otherwise it would be difficult to open her eyes. Her strength was far from Tsunade's. The wind whistled in Hyuga Luo Ning's ear, and she squinted at the big trees flying past her eyes one by one, dodging back. Sudden. Hyuga Luo Ning saw a cat in the tree, a purple cat. Very small, seems to be a small milk cat. Although it disappeared in a flash, such a cute thing still made Hyuga Luo Ning pay more attention. The cat suddenly appeared again. It was originally on the tree behind, but suddenly appeared on the tree in front, tilted his head, and looked over with a puzzled look. Look, that cat, Hyuga Luo Ning couldn't help saying. Chapter 0926_meow, are you Tsunade? Hyuga Luo Ning didn't say that she would become very surprised when she saw something cute. She was surprised because the little purple milk cat was a ninja beast, and it was a very powerful ninja beast, because it could keep up with Tsunade's speed. Tsunade was carrying Hyuga Luo Ning on his back and was running desperately. Although he was tired and carrying people, the speed did not reach the ultimate, but it was also tens of meters per second. The peak speed of a normal human being is about 10 meters per second. Tsunade is his several times. But even so, that little milk cat could still keep up. If it wasn't for Hyuga Luo Ning's Byakugan, maybe he really couldn't see it clearly. Cat, Tsunade responded questioningly, turning his head to look. The shadow cat flickered and appeared on the big tree beside it, still with a puzzled look on his face. His eyes swept back and forth on Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning's faces. It was already a little dazed. What's going on? Why does it look so similar, but still not the same? Tsunade is 37 years old this year, and Hyuga Luo Ning is 30 years old this year. Shadow Cat has seen the portraits of the two of them, and they are all face portraits that match their real age, because Orochimaru has not seen Tsunade for many years, and Tsunade is always changing. It can be younger or older, so the portrait Orochimaru gave was his guess. Moreover, Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning at the moment have long lost the beauty in the painting. Both of them looked like refugees, with messy hair, dust all over their bodies, and dried blood, which also had a great impact on their images. That's why Shadowcat is suspicious. Its intelligence is very high, and it is precisely because of this intelligence that it can analyze and be more rigorous in its tasks. Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning told Mobile, it followed, just want to see more clearly. Damn it, it's a high-intelligence ninja. Tsunade glanced at the shadow cat a few times, and saw its wisdom from the look in the shadow cat's eyes. Is it the enemy's tracking ninja? Hyuga Luo Ning suddenly asked nervously. It's possible, it's so fast, it's good at blinking, and it's a professional tracking ninja beast. Tsunade replied, and finally added, Konoha doesn't have such a ninja beast. Meow. The shadow cat howled suddenly, feeling the murderous aura on Tsunade. Tsunade disappeared, and then the figure quickly enlarged in front of Shadow Cat. Boom _ Towering tree shattered to pieces under the attack of Tsunade's terrifying fist. Tsunade was surprised, because she missed and the shadow cat disappeared. The pale-faced Hyuga Luo Ning forcibly opened Byakugan, and immediately said, "Behind." Damn, Tsunade cursed, bit Kiba to open the yin seal, and accelerated towards Ludu village. She understood that if she went after this cat ninja beast, she might miss the chance to escape to Ludu village. Ah! Hyuga Luo Ning suddenly exclaimed. What? Tsunade asked quickly. There is, the white guy, is following us. Hyuga Luo Ning said in shock. She rarely turned on Byakugan these days, because her physical condition did not allow it. She just forcibly turned it on, although the branch Byakugan swept the observation angle once, but in general, she can observe at 360 degrees, and it is enough to shake it a little. She can see what's behind her. So, she saw the stalking white Zetsu clone. The white Tsunade's face became extremely ugly, and there was a look of hatred in his eyes. 10 years ago, it was the white guy who kidnapped her, causing Han Guang to fight with Uchiha Madara, which eventually led to Han Guang's death. Enemy. Inseparable. Han, I'm sorry, I can't. Tsunade couldn't help crying, because she knew who the enemy was and knew that the enemy was behind her, but she couldn't avenge her husband. Hyuga Luo Ning finally couldn't hold it anymore, released Byakugan, and then said, "The cat, and the white one, are all following us." Tsunade didn't say a word, and hurried on his way. Hundreds of meters behind, white Zetsu avatars follow him. This is one of the strongest individual avatars besides white Zetsu's main body. Although his intelligence is not high, he is extremely capable of reconnaissance and tracking tasks. The white Zetsu clone froze suddenly as he felt a furry thing on top of his head. Meow. It's really fierce, it scared the baby to death. By the way, strange human, do you know the two people in front of you? Shadow Cat asked, and by the way, he scratched the hair of white Zetsu's clone. White Zetsu's clone evaded and disappeared. How rude, meow. Shadow Cat appeared in the tree, muttered and disappeared again. Tsunade is still running, she's almost crazy, she can't stop. I don't know how long it took. Sudden. A figure with a mask and a scythe appeared out of thin air on the towering tree that fell across the front, looking at Tsunade with cold eyes. Tsunade, who was running, stopped abruptly and looked at the man in front of him with a horrified expression. Hanzo. Of course she knew it. Sure enough, you came, he came, and you came too. You all came. Tsunade's face was a little sad. He was referring to you, White Zetsu and Hanzo, who added Onoki and defeated Sanin. And captured Tsunade alive. Long time no see. Hanzo made a hoarse voice, his eyes glowing like electricity. We haven't seen each other in 10 years, haven't we? What do you want? Tsunade said straight to the point. She knew that she was not Hanzo's opponent and could not escape, so she chose to negotiate conditions. Everyone is smart, you know what I want, right? Hanzo's voice was smiling. Tsunade was silent, staring at Hanzo. She was thinking about how to make a deal to save her and Hyuga Luo Ning's lives. Money was naturally important to her. Hanzo was not in a hurry, he knew that Tsunade had a strong temper, and forcing her would be counterproductive, so it was best to talk. Meow. Are you Tsunade? A soft voice suddenly came. Tsunade looked back, and it was the cat again, standing on a tree beside him. Little weird, Tsunade realized right away that this wasn't the enemy's cat. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking that question at all. I am, Tsunade replied. Oh, the shadow cat was finally determined, jumped off the big tree, slapped one paw on the ground, and called out, meow. Bang! White smoke flashed in front of Shadow Cat, and a black-robed figure appeared out of thin air. Chapter-927-brother, help me beat him. Ludu village, as the first trading village in the country of Vortex, is prosperous here. Recently, the big figures in the village have felt that something is wrong. First, there are more Konoha ninjas here, and they are mobilized more frequently. Second, the thousands of samurai troops in Ludu village, as well as 10,000 ordinary soldiers, have all done a new job a few days ago. The arrangement seems to be preparing for war. However, because everything was done relatively secretly and did not disturb the people, the current Ludu village looks the same as before. Downtown pub. The mysterious Luhan and Ali are sitting in the corner wearing masks. Ali is eating, and Luhan is sitting there motionless. He seems to be thinking about things. In fact, he is eavesdropping on the guests in the tavern. Conversation. The tavern is a place where dragons and snakes are mixed. Merchants and warriors like to come here. They come from all over the world. They drink a lot and talk a lot. They like to share their knowledge. Luhan is here to listen to information, such as where the ninja battle happened, who and so saw who was being hunted down, etc. These information are all useful to Luhan. He lost Tsunade 2 days ago and started searching aimlessly again. Half a day ago, he brought Ali to Ludu village. It was passing by here, but Luhan already had the idea of placing Ali here. It was a bit awkward to bring Ali to find Tsunade. He brought Ali before because Ali could sense the Hiraishin spell on Hyuga Luo Ning. But somehow, if it fails, there is no need to take him. I'm full. Ali, who had eaten 2 trays of cakes, said to Luhan. Pay. Luhan tilted his head at Ali. Ali started to rummage through his bags, stopped suddenly, and then raised his head. There was no one left. Luhan suddenly disappeared. That's it again. Ali muttered dissatisfiedly, and felt a little bit. The Hiraishin kunai he handed over to Luhan was already dozens of kilometers away. He immediately pulled out the change and slapped it on the table, and disappeared. In the forest, the strange behavior of the shadow cat caught everyone's attention. Hanzo didn't know where the cat came from, but with his cautious personality, the way to deal with this kind of intelligent ninja beast of unknown origin is usually just kill it. Killing intent. Diffuse on Hanzo. Meow. The shadow cat patted its paws on the ground with a sense of ritual. Boom. White smoke rose. Luhan appeared in front of the shadow cat out of thin air. Luhan saw Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning at a glance. His whole body seemed to be overcharged, and an indescribable feeling spread all over Luhan's body. Excited. Want to cry. Have it all. Suddenly a person appeared, and it was the cat who was psychic, which naturally aroused everyone's surprise. Tsunade naturally saw Luhan wearing a mask, but she did not recognize Luhan because of Luhan's disguised breath. It made her feel very unfamiliar, but she recognized Luhan's saber. Astonishing blade. How come that knife is in your hand? Tsunade exclaimed and asked. The knife should be on her son. At this time. Whoa, Xiao Ali appeared beside Luhan out of thin air, and when he saw Luhan, he began to complain. Why did you suddenly leave again? Don't you want to get rid of me? I tell you, if you dare to run away secretly, I will not compensate you. Quote. Tsunade was already stunned. Ali also came. Tsunade suddenly turned his head to look at Hanzo again, looking horrified. Done. Ali is her weakness. If Hanzo catches Ali, then she will. Hanzo still looked puzzled, because he didn't know what Ali looked like or who this child was. Ali finally felt that the atmosphere was not right. He turned his head to look, his eyes widened quickly, showing a look of surprise, but he burst into tears and cried out, Mom. Ali went crazy and rushed to Tsunade. Before, he threw himself into Tsunade's arms. Tsunade hugged her son tightly. She wanted to cry. She really wanted to ask the sky, why? Why this time? Why did my son come here at this time and fall into the same crisis as myself? Your son. Hanzo's eyes can be described as incredible. He is your son. You and Han Guang's son. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Hyuga Luo Ning had already got off Tsunade's back and hugged Ali. She was not as strong as Ali and was already crying. Hanzo looked at Tsunade and the others with a playful look. After laughing, he looked at Lu Han and said, I don't care who you are. Anyway, I have to thank you. Now you can go. Oh right, keep Han Guang's knife. Come on, that doesn't belong to you. Lu Leng coldly glanced at Hanzo and said nothing. Hanzo smiled disdainfully. He didn't care about Lu Han, even if he had a cold sword. After all, Hanzo was still one of the strongest in the ninja world, and he still had confidence. In the current ninja world, there are only a handful of ninjas who are stronger than him. The insight map shows that there are a total of 3 Yuhi names present, and the big Yuhi name is not Hanzo, but a hidden level, absolutely. There was a third Yuhi point, but Lu Han didn't know who it was. The Yuhi point was already 4 kilometers away, and it was moving at a high speed into the distance. It looked like he was about to leave. Absolutely here. Although it is 2 kilometers away, it is not too tight, but it is also very troublesome. Yuying, who else is nearby? Lu Han asked hoarsely. A white guy, a half-white, half-black guy. Shadow Cat, who jumped on Lu Han's shoulder, whispered. Lu Han immediately understood that the one who was leaving should be a clone of White Zetsu. Go kill that white guy. Lu Han ordered in a low voice. Meow. Shadow Cat responded and disappeared. While Lu Han and Shadow Cat were talking in a low voice, Hanzo looked at Tsunade, Hyuga Luo Ning, and Ali. His eyes were playful, and his voice was smiling. 1 billion taels, tell me the location of the treasure. I'll let you go. Tsunade didn't say a word, her thoughts turned sharply, thinking about how to break the game. But Xiao Ali couldn't help it, and yelled at Hanzo, bastard. You can't even get a penny. Yo, it's not a small temper. Hanzo laughed. Humph. Ali snorted coldly, glanced at Lu Han, pointed to Hanzo and said, Big brother, help me beat him. Chapter 0928 _ Who is he? Lu Han gave Ali a, you need a beating, look, fuck. Say no to marriage. Tsunade looked at Lu Han with complicated eyes. She didn't know whether to hate or thank her, because she already understood that this person should be here to help. If Ali could lend him the knife, he must be very trusting, but it could not be Hanzo's opponent, and he also brought Ali into danger. Big brother. Hanzo looked at Lu Han in surprise, looked up and down, and then smiled. It seems to be very funny. It's definitely not a big brother. Han Guang doesn't have such an eldest son. If he recognizes it, he doesn't know if Han Guang's son is brainless, thinking that just finding someone can settle everything. Hanzo looked at Ali again and asked in a disgusting tone, do you know who I am? Hanzo. Ali said, holding a small fist. Hanzo's image is unique, you can recognize it if you hear it, not to mention Ali has seen Hanzo's portrait long ago. Since you know, you dare to let your big brother do something to me, are you? What's so great about you? Ali choked, I was beaten by my father like a dog back then. Hanzo suddenly changed color and became furious, this kid's mouth is too black. Tsunade's breath is rising, and she is ready for battle. Once Hanzo dares to do it, she will stop Hanzo with all her might and let her son escape. 2 kilometers away, in the jungle. Ju stood on the tree and waited quietly. He didn't get too close, because he didn't need it. According to Uchiha Madara's order, he didn't need to take part in the battle himself, and try not to show up on the battlefield. It's Hanzo who is doing business over there, which is reassuring to Ju. Shunmue suddenly opened his eyes, and then cursed angrily, damn it. At this moment, White Zetsu's consciousness is leading everything, and the new White Zetsu body feels that his strongest clone has been far away from here, but he was suddenly attacked, and the one who attacked him was a cat. Absolutely dodging and disappearing, quickly approaching. The insight map shows that because White Zetsu's clone was attacked, he must have been led away. Lu Han put his hand on the handle of the knife. Okay, you really don't know how to live or die. Hanzo was spitting at Ali, but he was actually very restrained. Once he started, it would mean that the conversation was broken. He was doing it for money, and killing people was secondary, damn it. Tsunade, this is the good son you taught. How ignorant and fearless. Buzz _ A terrifying and unfamiliar aura suddenly erupted, as if the calm sea suddenly set off huge waves. Everyone was startled, and looked at them in unison. Only Xiao Ali was very excited, waving his fists and said, yes. Beat him. You. Hanzo looked at Lu Han who was bursting with breath, and his pupils shrank violently. Damn you, Lu Han said in a low voice. The knife was drawn in an instant, and then flashed in front of the half-hidden body. The light of the knife was like thunder, and the terrifying brilliance was like the whereabouts of the Silver River, slashing down. Hanzo's reaction was extremely fast. He had been immersed in swordsmanship for decades, and his speed was stronger than 10 years ago. Double swords. Boom _ With the roar that almost pierced the eardrum, Hanzo flew upside down like a cannonball, smashing 5 towering trees in a row with a terrifying impact. Lu Han flickered beside him, and the light of the sword slashed down like a rain curtain. Hanzo dodged, turned back to fight with the knife, and exclaimed at the same time, Hengguang. Cold Light's sword technique. The two of them turned into glimpses, flashing back and forth in the sky and the ground, and everything was destroyed wherever they went. You are Hatake Teishuo. No, impossible. You can't surpass me, Hanzo exclaimed and made a guess, and immediately denied the guess. Hatake Teishuo is a swordsman ninja who has received the true inheritance of Cold Light, and he is also the only ninja in the ninja world who can display the Cold Light signature sword technique Waterfall Sword Rain. Hanzo's guess was not without reason, but he couldn't believe that Hatake Teishuo would become so strong. However, one thing is true. If this person is really Hatake Teishuo, then the son of Han Guang is indeed going to call him eldest brother, and the two are of the same generation. Tsunade looked at the two people who were constantly fighting and moving. The whole person was stunned. Where did the supreme power come from? It's so powerful. It's definitely not Hatake Teishuo, Tsunade can be sure. Saved, sister, we are saved. Hyuga Luo Ning cried with joy, holding Xiao Ali in one hand and Tsunade's sleeve in the other. Who is he? Tsunade murmured, and immediately looked down at Xiao Li. Ali, do you know him? It's a new acquaintance. Ali's face was full of excitement. He is a Konoha ninja, and he also knows Uncle Orochimaru. Moreover, he said that he knows his mother and his little mother, and he has taken me to find my mother these days. Know us? Tsunade and Hyuga Luo stared at each other, then immediately said, then what does he look like? I don't know. Ali shook his head. I haven't seen it before. At most, I've seen the bottom half of his face. Before, he wore a hat and looked very young, maybe not even 20 years old. Under 20 years old, Tsunade muttered. His face changed continuously, his brows wrinkled. Teishuo accepted an apprentice. So young, he has this kind of strength. Could it be that Konoha Anbu secretly cultivated? Tsunade could not imagine. It was mainly the unfamiliar aura that affected her judgment. That figure feels so familiar, maybe I really know it. Hyuga Luo Ning said. Yeah, so familiar, Tsunade murmured. Don't mom know him? Xiao Ali asked. Tsunade slowly shook his head and said, it's not that I don't know him, but I can't think of who he is. Strange. Ali frowned. He said he knew his mother. He said he had known him for 17 years. 17 years. Tsunade turned his head suddenly, looked at Ali. His expression was stunned, and then his eyes seemed like waves in the Dead Sea, showing a special look that couldn't be explained. 17 years ago, 30 years in Konoha, Tsunade met Lu Han. Yes, he said it was 17 years. Ali blinked, dissatisfied. Could it be that he lied to me again? What's his name? Tsunade asked. He said he was called Gui Jancho, and he also admitted that it was a code name. Ali said. Tsunade grabbed Ali's shoulder all of a sudden. His expression was blank, his eyes were a little empty, confused and unbelievable. He still knows the technique of Hiraishin. Ali said again. Chapter 0929-Fear. Tsunade seems to have been immobilized. A feeling that the whole world is false flooded her mind. She can't figure it out. Konoha has known each other for 30 years, and claims to be, ghost sees sorrow. Hiraishin. All the evidence points to a person, and this person should have been dead for 10 years. Dead can't die anymore. 10 years ago, when Tsunade woke up from the ruined basin, the first thing she saw was the body of her husband Han Guang, and the blood that she didn't know whose blood had solidified. Tsunade screams, she goes mad, she tries to save. As the strongest medical ninja with the name of the medical saint, Tsunade has a deeper understanding of death than anyone else. At that time, her heart was already dead, because Han Guang died, she was sure. There is a secret she has never dared to tell. That is, Han Guang didn't die in anyone's hands. Although there were various reasons, the real cause of Han Guang's death was to save her. There is only one possibility. If Han Guang was killed, the enemy could not leave Tsunade's life behind. And Tsunade knew that the damn thing was her, but when she woke up, she found that all the fatal wounds on her body had recovered as before. Han Guang was dead. Will the dead come back to life? The answer is no. Because there is no precedent. Uchiha Madara didn't come back to life after death. He didn't see a corpse when he died, and he didn't die at all, and Konoha's most famous technique of impure world reincarnation didn't really bring people back to life. It's been 10 years. If Han Guang hadn't died that year, why didn't he appear for 10 years? If Han Guang really died, how could he come back to life? Tsunade had made the wildest guess, but she couldn't figure it out. Hyuga Luo Ning looked at Tsunade with a strange expression. She didn't know what happened to Tsunade. She and Lu Han had known each other since childhood and had known each other for more than 17 years. The code name used at the time, Tsunade knew that she also told this story to Ali. A story about a marriage proposal. But Hyuga Luo Ning doesn't know. The technique of Hiraishin is the forbidden technique of Konoha. At present, only Namikaze Minato has successfully practiced in Konoha. Hyuga Luo Ning speculated, could it be that there is a second ninja in Konoha who knows the technique of Hiraishin? Is it from Konoha Anbu? I also guessed that he was Namikaze Minato, but he didn't admit it. Xiao Ali interjected. Tsunade was speechless, his face still blank, but his eyes changed. I feel like I'm so close to him. It's the first time I've felt this way about a stranger when I've grown up. Ali said. Tsunade's body shook. I still want to marry him, but he snapped. Tsunade subconsciously slapped Ali on the back of the head, and Ali knelt directly and fell to the ground. Yeah, why are you hitting me? Sister, why did you hit Ali suddenly? Hyuga Luo Ning pulled Ali up. Ali rubbed the back of his head and looked at his mother with a grieved expression. No, nothing. Tsunade shook her head. She seemed to be schizophrenic. Why did she beat Ali? Because that might be his dad, but it might not be. Tsunade's mind is now very contradictory, and his mind is foggy. Did I say something wrong? Ali held the back of his head and pouted at Tsunade. Only in front of his mother would he show a very childish side. I don't know, Tsunade murmured, a great sense of fear over her. This is a kind of fear that she knows it is more likely to be wrong, but she hopes to be right, but she is afraid that it is wrong. The fear caused by extremely complex emotions, the fear that this is a conspiracy, and the fear that she will fall into the conspiracy is impossible. Extricate themselves. Lu Han and Hanzo have been fighting farther and farther, because Lu Han has not used any boosting ability, so Matsuri can't worship Hanzo quickly, and Hanzo has used all his strength. He wants to kill this mysterious guy in front of him. It must be someone related to Han Guang and Hitaki Taishuo, a mortal enemy. Sudden, the rustling sound came from the north. Tsunade frowned for a moment, turned his head to look. then his face changed greatly, and exclaimed, "Ali, you go first. Quick!" In the northern forest, nearly 100 ninjas approached rapidly. These people were naturally the mysterious ninjas who had been chasing Tsunade for a long time. They had always acted in several batches. This was a group near Ludu village. "I'm not leaving," Ali shouted. He naturally wouldn't leave. Tsunade gave him a stern look, Yuhi in the eye. Hiraishin Kunai slipped out of his sleeves, and immediately turned into a shadow, rushing towards the group of people. "Ali!" Tsunade exclaimed. "Sister, go ahead and leave me alone." Hyuga Luo Ning pushed Tsunade. 3 kilometers away, Luhan was chasing Hanzo, and the place they passed was in ruins. Luhan suddenly frowned, because the insight map showed that more than 100 Yuhi names had entered the detection range, and they were quickly approaching Tsunade and others. Since they had definitely left here, the big Yuhi's name was Hanzo, so Luhan did not know that the other party took the lead. Ninja's strength. "Damn it," Luhan muttered. With a wave of his hand, 2 figures flashed out from his side, one tall and one short, one strong and one thin, a faceless man and a savage shield soldier. Hanzo saw it, frowned, and thought. Hanzo had never seen the sword and shield duo, but he had heard that when Luhan attacked a Megakure village, he brought the 2 of them with him, and both of them were killed in a Megakure village. Hanzo returned to a Megakure village, naturally listened to the report. 3 kilometers north, kill all the enemies. Luhan ordered to the faceless man. The faceless man has a very high intelligence, so it is not necessary to elaborate, he knows who is his own and who is the enemy. Xiao Ali rushed into the enemy fiercely, with both hands Hiraishin flying together, his figure flashing rapidly, his fists and feet flying together. Every heavy punch would kill a ninja, and every leg out would bring an ear-piercing burst of air. Voice. He is strong. Although he is only 9 years old, as a ninja of the Grandmaster Hiraishin technique, no matter how bad it is not a problem to kill the elite Jonin. However, after all, there are too many enemies, and many of them are dead soldiers of the Master's evil art. Tsunade couldn't worry about Ali, but she couldn't leave Hyuga Luo Ning behind, so she joined the chaos with Hyuga Luo Ning on her back. "Ali, go, go," Tsunade exclaimed. "Mom, go first, then I can run away," Ali shouted in response. Chapter 0930-escape again. Tsunade killed the first person, blood splattered on her face, and all of a sudden she was cold and blood-phobic. Blood, so close to her. She slowed down, her body trembled. Ali has killed more than 20 people in a row. Very ferocious. Cage level-headed by him wanted to chase and kill Ali, but Ali evaded frantically with the Hiraishin technique, and killed some people by the way. This is not the way to go. He can quickly kill some relatively weak ones. Yes, but if he is besieged by several elite Jonin, he is no match. He had so little combat experience that Tsunade had protected him for years and kept him out of this mess. Call, call. Suddenly, 2 terrifying auras appeared in the forest battlefield, but 2 figures appeared out of thin air. The faceless man held a long sword, and the barbarian shield soldier held a giant shield. The 2 started a one-sided bloody massacre. There is no opponent at all. There is no one enemy. Even if that cage level existed, it was instantly killed by the faceless man's swordsmanship, and it was the familiar waterfall knife rain. When the faceless man became a transformation puppet, he inherited Luhan's swordsmanship, so his swordsmanship was the same as that of Luhan. Cold is exactly the same, just a little weaker. Ali stood on the tree, dumbfounded. What's the situation? Who are these 2 guys? Good strong good pervert. Tsunade rushed under the tree with Hyuga Luo Ning on his back. Ali jumped down, and seeing how trembling he was now, took 2 steps back, so that Tsunade couldn't see the blood on his body. Faceless. He's a faceless man. He's a faceless man. Tsunade was mumbling, his face became strange again. Tsunade knew faceless, and so did Hyuga Luo Ning. Because the faceless man was Luhan's sparring partner before he was transformed into a puppet, and the practice ground where the two of them often fought collapsed. For this reason, Tsunade was always very angry. The faceless man is still the faceless man, although he has been transformed. But the breath revealed during the battle is very similar to Lu Han. Moreover, the faceless man is very characteristic when fighting. He is not as efficient and fast as humans. He is good at using combat strategies and has a strong sense of rhythm. Very well recognized. Tsunade encountered something he couldn't understand. Because in Tsunade's memory, the faceless man was a sparring clone created by Lu Han's secret technique, and could only be used for sparring. That's what Lu Han told him back then. But this faceless man can kill the enemy. Isn't it faceless? The enemies were quickly killed, and the last few tried to run, but they were caught up by the faceless and killed them all. After that, the sword and shield duo stopped and stood motionless in the forest full of corpses. Tsunade looked at it, Hyuga Luo Ning also looked at it, and Xiao Ali not only looked at it, but also asked, "Thank you, who are you?" The faceless man glanced at A Li and remained silent. The barbarian shield soldier didn't even move his eyes. You are faceless." Tsunade couldn't help asking. Man glanced at Tsunade and didn't say a word. It was impossible for him to answer any question from anyone without Lu Han's order. Now that all the enemies have been killed, he analyzed that Lu Han had the intention of letting them protect the few people here, so he just stood there still, waiting for Lu Han's next order. 4 kilometers away, the forest. Kaden, fire style, lava earth blast. Hanzo has done his best. After the hand seal, countless detonating talismans spread under his feet, rapidly spreading in a radius of 30 meters, and then the detonating talismans exploded, forming a sea of fire. There is lava bursting out of the ground, surging. Boom _. A figure shot out directly from the sea of fire, shielding the invasion of the flames with a terrifying sword, and covered with blood mist. Are you Han Guang's disciple? Hanzo's pupils contracted violently, and he shouted in shock. State of angry blood is the exclusive ability of subversives, but in the eyes of people in the Hokage world, this is naturally a forbidden technique, which only Han Guang has used. Hanzo also knows that if this technique is used for too long, the user's hair will turn white and the combat power will decrease, but it will recover. Lu Han has scruples in his heart, so he fought with Hanzo for so long, mainly because of the absolute power. Zhu was led away by the shadow cat, but he definitely didn't go far. It was estimated that he was still within a radius of 10 kilometers. Lu Han couldn't let Zhu know that he was Hangguang, so that Uchiha Madara would know. Be difficult. Lu Han wants to kill Uchiha Madara. He must have been killed. So Lu Han is a ninja, and now, Lu Han can't bear it anymore, because both of them are grandmasters of swordsmanship. Lu Han can completely crush Hanzo as long as he enters the rage blood state to increase. This time, Lu Han will never let Hanzo escape. After breaking the flame, Lu Han rushed directly to the front of Hanzo. The terrifying sword light formed countless brilliance. Hanzo disappeared immediately, and appeared not far behind Lu Han. He used the flash forbidden technique. Lu Han killed him again. Who are you? Who are you? Hanzo roared furiously. He was no longer an opponent. Every time Lu Han approached him, he would smell the breath of death. 1 instant body, 2 instant body, 3 substitute forbidden technique. Hanzo evaded frantically, and he threw out the cards for escape at the critical moment one by one. Sanjiao Fish also sprang from the ground once, and blocked it for Hanzo. He was almost killed and escaped with serious injuries. Finally, Hanzo started to escape. Accept fate. If you can't beat it, you will die if you don't escape. Psychic. Lu Han took the knife and hand-sealed it. Bang! Along with the white smoke, the shadow cat appeared on top of Lu Han's head. It looked disheveled. Although it was not injured, its aura fluctuated very strongly. Obviously, its battle with Zhu was not smooth. It was not Zhu's opponent at all, it was the ability to dodge as strong, so it cannot be killed in a short time. Lu Han suddenly channeled him over, and he definitely lost his opponent there, and he was afraid that he would come over soon. You're like this. Luhan whispered to the shadow cat, and at the same time took out a Hiraishin kunai. Meow. Shadow cat nodded, bit Hiraishin kunai, and then disappeared. Luhan quickly exited the state of anger and blood, pulled out the sword of shock, and disappeared. Hundreds of meters away. Hanzo fled wildly. Meow. The shadow cat with Hiraishin in his mouth suddenly appeared behind Hanzo. Luhan appeared like a shadow. Hanzo subconsciously returned the knife, and then was shocked. Futon, wind style, the art of flower rain cutting. The lotus blooms instantly. Chapter 0931-Hanzo falls. When Luhan appeared, the shadow cat disappeared, so Luhan's triggering of the magic ring would not hurt the shadow cat. And Hanzo. He even escaped. Incredible forbidden technique. Hanzo was very alert when escaping for his life and was always ready to avoid an irresistible attack. When Luhan appeared behind him, he had already launched the forbidden technique. Therefore, he did not notice Wayuki, but because he was hiding from Luhan. Cold, and immediately disappeared. The lotus flowers as high as tens of meters were in full bloom, and the countless wind blades tore everything around them into slag. Hanzo appeared 100 meters away out of thin air, with a strong bloody smell on his body. The skin on his arms had already burst, the flesh and blood were rolled, and it looked extremely terrifying. This is the price he paid for launching the forbidden technique. The forbidden technique was a small price before. He has used it all, and the price is high. He is seriously injured. You are. Hanzo was extremely shocked. He had already recognized Luhan, because the instant haircut was also one of Luhan's signature abilities. So many coincidences, although he didn't understand why Han Guang is not dead, but he has basically confirmed it. It can't be the second person. You are cold. The shadow cat with kunai appeared after Hanzo and Luhan appeared almost at the same time. Kai _. The sword of astonishment pierced from behind Hanzo and emerged from the front of his heart, and the blade twisted again, shattering Hanzo's heart. Before he could finish his words, his voice stopped abruptly. He lowered his head in disbelief, widened his eyes in disbelief, and looked at the tip of the knife that pierced through his heart. Why didn't I run away? Am I getting old? Am I tired? Why? Hanzo couldn't believe that he would die today, immediately. To die. He came to the land of rain this time to kill a female ninja who was half crippled due to fear of blood. With sufficient intelligence support, there should be no danger. How could this be? How could this be? He is back. It's him. Cold light. If you can choose again, Hanzo will definitely not come. Maybe he will hide and be a good baby, so that all this will not happen. However, there is no if. God will not give him a chance to choose again. Cuckoo lol. Hanzo made a strange sound. The blood had filled his mouth. He wanted to speak, but couldn't speak. A lot of blood came out of his mouth. He wanted to turn back. He turned around and looked at the person behind him, but the person behind him didn't give him a chance. The knife was suddenly taken away, followed by another knife. Pucci _. This knife sent Hanzo flying out, like a kite with a broken string. Half of his body was torn apart. His head was separated from his body, and he flew to a higher place. At the moment before his death, Hanzo saw his own. The headless corpse also saw the black-robed figure holding the sword of astonishment. Boom! Hanzo's body slammed into the bluestone, a golden light erupted, and hundreds of falling objects. A generation of ninja hero, who rose in the dark country at the end of the day, with countless dead souls under his hands, one step at a time with bloody footprints to the peak. The legendary demigod and Hanzo, who has been a legend all his life, has fallen. 8 kilometers to the south, Ju appears frequently in the forest and moves at high speed. The aura of the technique of cutting flowers and rain, that intensity, is it a strong Sunogaker? Ju's face was ugly, and he had the heart to kill the whole world, because that white Zetsu clone was still dead. That cat fight is very pervert. At least from the point of view of the ninja beast, and the avatar of white Zetsu, which can be said to be the strongest, is too weak in combat, and its ability is mainly reflected in the detection and movement speed. The cat is torn. Definitely want revenge. He chased and killed the cat. The trap had already been set up, but the cat suddenly disappeared. I want to vomit blood. ... Both the headless corpse and the human head were placed on the ground in front of the bluestone in the forest. Lu Han looked at Hanzo's corpse with complicated eyes. Apart from the comfort of revenge, Lu Han also had some emotions about killing Hanzo. This guy has been crazy for a lifetime and will do anything to achieve his goals, but he also has his own beliefs. He will let go of the enemy who was going to kill him because he cherishes his talents, and he will kill the genius because he is worried that the rise of the genius will threaten him. This is a very contradictory guy. He is a bad guy, but at least bad upright, and Sarutobi Hiruzen is completely two extremes. Him and Sarutobi Hiruzen, the former is a pure bloody war, and the latter is a hypocritical bloody ruler. Damn, I killed people, why should I feel emotional? Lu Han sighed. Meow. The shadow cat standing on top of Lu Han's head meowed, as if responding to Lu Han, because it was holding a kunai, so it made a strange noise. Leave a whole corpse. It's a generation of heroes. Lu Han said to himself. He didn't go to search for the corpse, but put away Hanzo's knife, turned around and left, shouting again, come and collect the corpse. Walking slowly, Lu Han walked out of 100 meters, and the earth suddenly shook. The ground next to the blue stone suddenly left, and the huge mountain pepperfish sprang out from the ground, swallowing all of Hanzo's corpses in one bite, then sneaked into the ground, and quickly went away. The Insight map showed that Tsunade and others were at the edge of the scouting area of the Northern Insight map, 5 kilometers away from Lu Han, and the Faceless Man and the Barbarian Shield soldiers were also there. Lu Han dodged and disappeared. In the forest full of corpses, the Faceless Man and the Savage Shield soldiers remained motionless, while Tsunade and others also stood in their original positions and did not walk around. Tsunade did not dare to approach the Faceless Man, because the Faceless Man was too murderous. Powerful, what if there is danger? The roar from the south has disappeared, and I don't know if the battle is over, or because Hanzo and the mysterious man have run too far, so the sound of their battle can't be heard here. Tsunade was staring at the tree. There was no blood on the tree, which made Tsunade feel a lot better. Hyuga Luo Ning held Ali's hand, as if he was afraid of him running around. Call. Lu Han appeared beside Ali out of thin air, and Ali brought his Hiraishin Kuwu. Ali was startled and delighted, and called out, Big brother. Snapped. Lu Han slapped Ali on the back of the head, and Ali lay directly on the ground. Lu Han looked at Tsunade. Tsunade also looked at Lu Han. 4 eyes facing each other. Chapter 0932 The Golden Wind and Jade Do Meet. Lu Han didn't know much about the poets in the ninja world, and he didn't know whether those bards had ever written a sentence similar to, The Golden Wind and Jade Do Meet, but there are countless people in the world, but now this poem, but it was Lu Han's mood at the moment. After a long time apart, we meet again, as if yesterday. Lu Han's eyes are very warm, like the spring breeze in March, but Tsunade's eyes are so blank, helpless, and a little scared. Lu Han didn't speak, he was waiting for Tsunade to speak. Tsunade didn't say anything, she didn't dare to ask. Xiao Li, who was patted on the ground, swayed up and got up. He seemed a little dizzy. He ate a mouthful of mud, his expression was extremely aggrieved, and he clenched his fists. But it seems, he is the savior again. You, who are you? Tsunade finally couldn't help speaking, her voice trembling. It's me. Lu Han answered Tsunade with his true voice, then hooked Tsunade's neck with his solid arms, and hugged her tightly in his arms. Tsunade even forgot to struggle, his mind went blank. Xiao Ali's eyes widened instantly, his mouth turned into an O shape, and he looked stunned and stunned. Hyuga Luo Ning was also stunned, her thinking was in confusion, she seemed to suddenly understand something, that voice, she remembered, always remembered, never forgot. Lu Han slowly let go of Tsunade, tilted his head to look at Hyuga Luo Ning, reached out to touch Hyuga Luo Ning's cheek, and said softly, I suffer. Hyuga Luoning suddenly grabbed Lu Han and stretched out that hand. Very forcefully, she stared at Lu Han, her head subconsciously slanted, staring. Incredible. Unbelievable. Go away, what are you doing? Xiao Li suddenly shouted. He obviously couldn't accept the fact that his mother and Xiao mother were too intimate with a certain man. And looking at her mother's face, she didn't seem very willing. Lu Han was cold behind him and then disappeared out of thin air. Xiao Li held Horaishan Kuwang and crossed Lu Han's previous position. Lu Han appeared out of thin air a few meters away, and Xiao Li had blocked Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning. In front of him, he looked very brave and looked at Lu Han with indignation. Bastard! Although you saved us, you are not allowed. You are not allowed. You are not allowed to be so close to my mother. Lu Han's face was shaking, he wanted to hit the child. Fuck, all the good atmosphere was ruined by this dead boy. Ali, if you talk to me like this, you will be beaten. Lu Han said. I'm not afraid of you. Ali shook Kuwu's hand in a resolute manner. Tsunade finally came back to his senses, raised his hand and pressed Ali's shoulder from behind, and said in a very uncertain tone, Ali, I think you can treat him. Be polite to him. Yes, just. Be polite. Hyuga Luoning suddenly folded her hands together, wrinkles appeared around her eyes, Byakugan, open. Perspective. Hyuga Luoning wanted to see through Lu Han's mask, but was unsuccessful. The mask was not a mortal thing, but a penultimate quality drop equipment that could not be seen through. Hyuga Luoning's actions, Lu Han raised his hand and took off his mask. With a young face, he looked less than 20 years old, and he was considered handsome. At this time, Lu Han's face was no different from 10 years ago. With a smile on his face, he said softly, I'm back. Xiao Li's mouth turned into an O shape again, with a confused look on his face. He naturally knew what his legendary father looked like. Kang Huang's portrait can be said to be all over the world, not to mention, Konoha has also established a monument to him, and built a statue more than 10 stories high for future generations to look up to. Han. Hyuga Luoning called Lu Han's name loudly, and rushed towards Lu Han suddenly. Tsunade grabbed Hyuga Luoning and grabbed her. Comparison, Hyuga Luoning is relatively simple, while Tsunade is very suspicious because of her experience over the years. Until now, she still has a trace of uncertainty in her heart. Can you answer me a question? Tsunade asked. Yeah, Lu Han nodded. 17 years ago, what songs did you like to sing in the shower? Tsunade asked. Weird question. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, and then his face became embarrassed. This question was asked. It's not that he doesn't remember, it's that the lyrics don't fit his age now. Do you really want me to sing? Okay. Listen, cough, take a bath. Skin is good. Bath skin is good. La 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 la. Tsunade cried, hugged his head and cried, crying piercingly. Lu Han walked in front of Tsunade and hugged Tsunade in his arms again. Tsunade hugged Lu Han tightly with his backhand and cried, cold. Hyuga Luoning squeezed into Lu Han's arms strongly, hugging Lu Han's waist. The three of them touched their heads. Lu Han's nose was sore, and he held back his tears. Xiao Li has turned into a sculpture, staring, O-shaped mouth, stiff and motionless. The boring shadow cat jumped on Xiao Li's head and scratched his hair, but he didn't respond. Xiao Li's mood at this time is more complicated than anyone else's. So scary. This person is Dad. In a trance, Xiao Li remembered what he had just heard, that he might have been beaten, and his body froze subconsciously. When? More than half a month ago. Resurrection, do you believe in resurrection? Believe, you said, you can be reincarnated, right? Reincarnation is lying to you, but resurrection is true. Wooey for me. Luoning is jealous. Then kiss one. Where's the child? Boom. Lu Han hugged them, buried his head with them, and spoke in a low voice. At this time, Xiao Ali seemed to be an outsider and was ignored by everyone. He was not too excited. Maybe it was because he had been with Lu Han these days, and the two were already too familiar, that is, Ghost sees it. Sorrow suddenly changed from big brother to father, which made him stunned. After an unknown amount of time, Ali, whose head had been turned into a chicken coop by the shadow cat, slowly turned around, squatted down, and began to draw circles on the ground with Kunwu. "It's coming," Lu Han said suddenly. "Absolutely," Tsunade asked rhetorically. "That's the one, the black and the white guy." Tsunade's voice was a little nervous. "Let's kill him together." Chapter 0933_Deadly Couple. The insight map shows that Ju is coming from the south and is rapidly approaching the scene in a flashing manner. Lu Han has already found a way to kill Ju, and he almost succeeded last time, only half of it was killed, so naturally he has a chance this time. However, Lu Han still can't reveal his identity to Ju, because Ju Fu is too strong. If he reveals his identity and doesn't kill him, it will be troublesome. Of course, even if Uchiha Madara knew that Han Guang had been resurrected now, the trouble would be much less than before, because Lu Han had already found Tsunade, Hyuga Luo Ning, and his son. "We're like this." Lu Han lowered his voice to Tsunade. Tsunade has already shown the expression of biting Kiba's teeth, and the hatred with White Zetsu, she will not forget. Lu Han handed the blade of Jinghong to Hyuga Luo Ning, and took out a large kunai. In the jungle, absolutely flashing forward. "What's going on? It's so quiet." Ju frowned deeply, because there were still 3 kilometers away, the forest was dense, and he didn't know how to see through. Naturally, he couldn't see the situation over there, and could only sense the breath slightly. "Is the battle over? Why didn't Hanzo come to me? Or, he killed Tsunade." Ju's face was a little gloomy. "As I said before, if you can extort Han Guang's treasure, the money you get will be half and half. It is absolutely impossible to provide information to Hanzo for nothing. Although there is a conspiracy behind this, the money should be taken. The value of Tsunade's master's treasure is conservatively estimated to be 1 billion taels." "It's so quiet." Ju was getting more and more uneasy. Being quiet is not necessarily wrong. People are all dead, and those who are alive will naturally be quiet, but I don't know why, but I definitely feel that something has changed. Sudden crisis strikes. Ju's back was cold, and he jumped back in an instant. He saw that it was the purple ninja cat. "It's here again." Damn! Ju was furious, and just as he was about to launch an attack, the shadow cat flickered and disappeared. Knife light up. From behind the absolute. Ju screamed in anger. His body shrank and disappeared. The knife light cut through his afterimage, bombarded the ground, and shook the mountain in an instant. Lu Han, who was wearing a mask, held a large kunai in his hand. He missed a hit, and his body turned back in an instant. With a catapult, he waved the large kunai in his hand again and bombarded the big tree beside him. Boom! The big tree cracked into slag, and it must flashed from the slag, retreating violently. It's you! Ju saw Lu Han and shouted angrily. He didn't recognize Han Guang, but recognized that Lu Han was the Konoha ninja who killed the body White Zetsu that day. Ha! Lu Lang laughed, chasing after him. He never dared to fight with Lu Han at all. He was not good at frontal combat, and he was very stingy. He would never take the risk of fighting against a powerful enemy. Lu Han chased, and he ran frantically. It could be said that he was flying on the grass, and moved rapidly against the grass with the mayfly technique, instead of going underground. Because he has already understood that going underground, he will die faster. In just over 10 seconds, the two figures moved at a rapid speed for nearly a kilometer, and Lu Han once again chased behind him. There was a deafening roar in the forest, the smoke and dust covered the sky, and rushed out of the smoke and dust in an embarrassing manner, and continued run away. Lu Han continues to chase and kill. Compared with endurance, there is no doubt that you will die. It is only a matter of time. The so-called long-term defense must be lost. You must not even defend, but keep trying to hide. There is always a time when you can't escape. Ju, who was moving at a high speed, seemed to have found something and glanced sideways. Another figure. In the side forest, moving extremely fast, seems to want to detour and flank. Tsunade. Damn, Ju cursed, and he suddenly figured out some things. For example, this ninja was sent by Konoha to rescue Tsunade, and Tsunade is still alive and well, which means that Hanzo may have been killed and escaped. Is this person stronger than Hanzo? That was the only way to think, but he couldn't imagine Hanzo was dead. Luhan catches up again. Boom _ Everything in front of the knife light torn apart Ju's body, the side of Ju's body, representing White Zetsu's white body, the arm was smashed into pieces by the knife light, but this injury is definitely not serious. White Zetsu has a large number of Senju cells in his body, and the huge vitality is enough to regenerate his severed limbs. He walked away, but after walking for 100 meters, he returned to the ground, and the shattered white arm had grown out. Tsunade finally circled in front of Ju at the limit speed, rushed towards Ju head-on. Ju narrowed his eyes, changed direction in an instant, and dodged. He began to approach the most bloody area in the forest. 1 kilometer to the north, Hyuga Luo Ning stood behind Xiao Ali, with her hands on Xiao Ali's shoulders. The Faceless Man and the Barbarian Shield soldiers stood beside them, both in battle. Hyuga Luo Ning's eyes were worried. Xiao Ali looked very distressed. He was still thinking about the past, and he seemed to have scolded. Dad. Boom _ Boom _ Boom _ The roar in the forest continued, and the distance was getting closer and closer. At a glance, smoke and dust were sometimes set off in the distant forest, and towering trees fell. Ju, who fled wildly, has been attacked more than 10 times and hit 3 times, but every time he is in a critical moment, he let the white half of the body be stabbed. White Zetsu. The blood was getting heavier. Luhan was chasing him, and Tsunade was chasing him again. As a taiju ninja, as long as Tsunade continued to output the strange power of taijutsu, his speed might even surpass Luhan. Of course, if she did that, no matter how much chakra she did, it would not be enough. It won't last long. Damn it, Ju suddenly sneered, then shrank back to the ground. Because he didn't go deep into the ground, the insight map still showed his location. This time, he escaped for 100 meters, jumped out of the ground, and then escaped again, appeared again, and appeared directly in front of Tsunade. He raised his hand and hit Tsunade. The weapon used was the arm of a corpse. A lot of blood was poured on Tsunade. That's why you must come to the bloody place, pick up the corpse, throw the Tsunade, and use the Tsunade's hyperphobia to find an opportunity to hold her hostage. Time seems to slow down. With a grin on his face, Tsunade's face had already been splashed with blood. Tsunade's eyes were cold and he punched out. Absolutely face change. Chapter 0934 What about hyperphobia? What about hyperphobia? It was a total miscalculation. He planned to take advantage of Tsunade's frightened moment to deceive Tsunade. To find the right moment, he had to be very close to Tsunade, so he didn't hold back. As a result, the blood was thrown out and spilled too on Tsunade's face. Tsunade was not afraid. Ju was extremely angry and a little panicked, because the distance was too close. Tsunade's punch was unreserved, and he couldn't dodge. Bang _ Tsunade's punch, which was blessed by the strange power of taijutsu, bombarded Ju's body fiercely, and punched through Ju's body with one punch. If you change to a normal human, you will definitely be killed by this punch, but strictly speaking, it is not a human at all. He dodged quickly, dodging Tsunade's second punch. Kai. The sword light reappeared, and Luhan, who came over, flashed behind the dead body, and slashed down with one sword. With the sour tearing sound of Kiba, Ju was directly cut into 2 halves, usually black and half white. Half of the black body fled to the ground in an instant, as did the half of the white body. The two entered the ground 2 meters and fled in different directions. "Get out!" Tsunade shouted sharply, raised his foot, and stomped on the ground. Rumbling _ The terrifying force entered the ground, and the earth exploded within 100 meters in an instant. It really exploded. It was as if countless detonating talismans were buried in the ground crumbled, the soil shot up into the sky, and the smoke and dust covered the sun. Black Zetsu and White Zetsu were directly blown out. All flew into the sky with flying dirt and rubble. Luhan really wanted to give Tsunade a thumbs up. The strange power of physical skills, you are fierce. However, he didn't have the time to dodge and get close to Black Zetsu. In contrast, killing Black Zetsu is more valuable. This guy is the ultimate conspirator. Even Uchiha Madara has been deceived by him, and White Zetsu. A scout capable of pervert. Brain is a good thing. In comparison, White Zetsu doesn't have it. Black Zetsu has brains. Black Zetsu, who was seriously injured, flickered wildly and moved extremely fast, while Luhan quickly approached. At the same time, Tsunade chased after White Zetsu, and Luhan had already told Tsunade how to restrain the mayfly technique, in short, to cut off the channel of organic matter. With Tsunade's strength, let's not say whether he can kill White Zetsu, but at least he won't lose to White Zetsu. Luhan has noticed that the aura of that White Zetsu is already comparable to the body White Zetsu killed by Luhan before, so it can be concluded that it is the new body of White Zetsu rebuilt by Uchiha Madara. However, it is useless. More than combat power, Tsunade can kill him. Xiao Ali was finally attracted by the battle, because the distance was very close. He could already see the figures of both sides fighting. His face was a little nervous, his fists were clenched tightly. If it wasn't for Hyuga Luo Ning pressing him, he might just rushed to help. Black Zetsu with a crushing attitude, but Tsunade was fighting. Because White Zetsu couldn't escape, he couldn't escape at all. Wherever he went, Tsunade would step on. Rotten. Taijutsu's strange power. Tsunade is obviously more advanced than Luhan's use. It can even be said to be a branch of ninjutsu. Tsunade can crack a large area on the ground with 1 foot. 3 large leaves appeared beside White Zetsu, but were shattered by Tsunade's punch. White Zetsu's arm was broken again. He escaped for a second before appearing. Facing Tsunade who was chasing after him, he picked up 2 kunai next to the corpse on the ground and threw them towards Tsunade. Tsunade was so hard Wu caught it with his hands and threw it back. One of them pierced White Zetsu's leg. Away again, and Tsunade blasts him out with another kick. White Zetsu is going crazy. Because he met a woman who was madder than him, Tsunade, one of Sanin's medical saints, when she was not afraid of blood, she would become extremely scary. Doppelganger. White Zetsu began to flash figures. All White Zetsu, 1 or 2, 5 or 10, more and more. He began to use the Senjuhashirama cells in his body to directly create low-level clones with almost no intelligence. This kind of although the clone can exist independently, its combat power is extremely weak. A large group of White Zetsu clones rushed towards Tsunade, just to be cannon fodder. The main body White Zetsu wanted to use this method to win the opportunity for himself to escape. Almost unstoppable, Tsunade blasted the clones one by one and continued to approach White Zetsu. "Mom, be careful," Xiao Ali, who was watching the battle, was very nervous and exclaimed. Mom. Black Zetsu, who had been stabbed twice by Luhan and still not dead, heard Xiao Ali's cry, as if thinking of something, glanced back, and got into the ground again. Boom, 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 boom. Luhan began to smash the area, and the earth shook violently again and again. Meters underground, Black Zetsu roamed rapidly with the mayfly technique. Every shock aggravated his injury, but he still sneaked underground, and at the position of 20 meters underground, there were connected tree roots everywhere. If you want to destroy it, it will take some time. This time, Black Zetsu sneaked underground for nearly 5 seconds, then jumped out of the ground. Ali, just 30 meters in front of him. Attention was on Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu was approaching Ali. Lu Han is chasing after him. Black Zetsu also approached Ali at a high speed, sticking to the ground turf with the mayfly technique. The faceless man and the shield soldiers all moved, trying to stop Black Zetsu, but when they rushed to Black Zetsu immediately moved 5 meters away, disappeared in front of the two of them, and after another second, Black Zetsu sprang out again. This time, he appeared directly behind Hyuga Luoning. Ali was standing in front of Hyuga Luoning and was embraced by Hyuga Luoning. Hey! Black Zetsu showed a gloomy smile. He already understood. Now he only needs to hold the two people in front of him. Any of them can leave safely today. Lightning strike. Everything happened too fast. Hyuga Luoning, who had almost no strength due to poisoning, didn't even notice that there was another person behind her. She was still looking ahead, and the approaching Black Zetsu disappeared. Death to me! The loud shout burst in Black Zetsu's ear, and the sword shone like rain. Lu Han used Horaishin, and Kuwu was on Ali. Chapter 0935 _ Are you cold light? Black Zetsu's shooting speed is very fast, and his melee sneak attack ability is very pervert. After all, he was overcast in the late stage of the original book and was not prepared for the existence of Uchiha Madara, but no matter how fast he can't be faster than Horaishin, and it is not faster than Lu Han's knife light. Boom _ The gust of wind blew behind Hyuga Luoning, and the terrifying rain of waterfall knives splashed towards Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu was extremely horrified. He didn't expect that the blow that should have turned the situation around had ushered in a real crisis of death. Disappeared in an instant, fled away. He managed to dodge the blow. This is his lucky place. It doesn't mean that Lu Han can't kill him, but at that moment, Lu Han retains a power. As for the reason, it is naturally because Hyuga Luoning is too close, and Lu Han is afraid that he will not be able to accept him. Stop! If the knife light bombards the ground and produces a terrifying shock wave, it is likely to hurt Hyuga Luoning. The art of Horaishin. That is the art of Horaishin. Black Zetsu, who was sneaking fast underground, shouted inwardly. He could see that the mysterious man used Horaishin just now, and also waterfall knife rain. Hundreds of thousands of knives were cut out in an instant, and the person who first used this knife technique was Han Guang. And now the ninja who can use this sword technique should only be Han Guang's direct disciple of the sword technique, Hitaki Tai Shuo alone. He can Horaishin, he can still do that kind of swordsmanship. Who the hell is he? Rumbling. Black Zetsu, who was underground, twisted and was severely injured again. He had to run upwards. After a second, he broke through the ground. Damn you! Lu Han ghostly appeared behind Black Zetsu, strangling with sword light. Black Zetsu shrank and fled again. This time, he started to move frantically in the direction of White Zetsu. He was ready to let White Zetsu sacrifice again to fight for his chance to escape. The distance between the two sides was not far away, and it took only a few breaths before Black Zetsu was approaching. White Zetsu. At this time White Zetsu was about to be killed by Tsunade, and released hundreds of clones, all of which were blown up, unable to stop Tsunade at all. Black Zetsu dived underground again, and White Zetsu disappeared almost at the same moment. Smash! Lu Han and Tsunade began to smash the ground at the same time. At this moment, the ground almost shook, the roar was endless, and the smoke and dust covered the sky. Black Zetsu appears again. No, to be precise, absolutely. They are united underground. The half-black and half-white Jew appeared and rushed directly to Lu Han. Lu Han was very surprised. Black Zetsu is not afraid of death, or is there any conspiracy? Naturally, Lu Han would not worry so much, so he rushed to the front of the body, the sword light like rain. Bang _ Jew's half-body was torn apart, the white half, and at the same time golden light and falling objects erupted. White Zetsu was directly killed by Lu Han. Black Zetsu did it on purpose because he wanted to know who Lu Han was. And now, he already knows. White Zetsu has a technique called barter change. Relying on this technique, White Zetsu can absorb the enemy's chakra, thereby transforming his own chakra into the same attribute, and even through this, he can become the opponent's appearance. Just now, as ordered by Black Zetsu's consciousness, White Zetsu did it. Before his death, he absorbed some chakras scattered by Lu Han, assimilated them, and passed the assimilation results to Black Zetsu through memory. The breath of a ninja can be disguised through techniques, but the essence of chakra cannot be disguised, so it is what it is. Hangguang. You are Hangguang. This is impossible. You are already dead. Black Zetsu, who had half of his body left, howled mournfully, and immediately escaped into the ground again. He has gone crazy. Cold Light still alive. Cold Light resurrected. Whether he believed it or not, the chakra that White Zetsu transformed from barter just now belongs to the Cold Light 10 years ago. Lu Han's breath is not popular, it belongs to a very rare type, because he has the body of a fairy, Kekkei Genkei, strong chakra, and Master Sharingan and Shikatsumyaku, dead bone pulse, which is the biggest special feature. Fuck. Lu Han's face changed greatly, he was a little confused. How did he find out? Discovered by dying. Black Zetsu sneaked into the ground and never came out again. He was running wildly underground, and at the same time, he used his extreme abilities to turn himself into a semi-conscious body that could be forcibly merged with other creatures. He was originally a product of consciousness, so he could doing this, but the consequence is that it may not change back. Because without him, he has not really merged with anyone, and he is even using the Mayfly technique. He might die. But this is also his lifeline. That person is Han Guang. It is the most desperate powerhouse during World War II, even Uchiha Madara is not his opponent. This is the first time that Black Zetsu is so desperate, and it is also the first time that he is so determined. He has been born for an unknown number of years, and this is the biggest crisis he has ever encountered. It was discovered. On the ground, Lu Han gave a wry smile, and then without reservation, his eyes opened forever. The huge Susanoo quickly took shape, and the mountain-like energy giant began to smash the ground frantically. This was Lu Han's attack. The strongest stayed on the ground. Tsunade is also hitting the ground. The two joined forces, and the forest in a radius of 1 kilometer was completely destroyed, and the ground kept cracking and shaking, time and time again. Underground, Black Zetsu was still sneaking deeper into the ground. He is already betting on his own luck. If he is not lucky, there may be a rock layer below, or all organic matter channels are destroyed by vibration, then he will die underground. Not far, he may escape. The earthquake lasted for a whole number of minutes and finally stopped. So long, the results have come out, and Black Zetsu is either out of shock range or dead. The huge Susanoo shrank rapidly, the light scattered and disappeared, and Lu Han stood on the ruins with a cold expression, scanning. Tsunade flickered beside Lu Han, her face turned pale because of the excessive consumption of chakra. Is he dead? Tsunade asked. No, Lu Han shook his head gently, without explaining how it was determined, but it was actually very simple, because there was no drop. Moreover, killing Black Zetsu, there should be a prompt for the first kill. The rating of Black Zetsu is definitely higher than the level 70 bronze boss. Chapter 0936_wait I think about it. The forest has been completely destroyed, and not even any fallen trees can be seen, because the ground looks like it has been plowed by a huge iron plow, and several meters of soil and gravel have been turned to the surface. Those towering trees were basically turned into pieces and mixed with the soil. It didn't kill him. Tsunade looked worried. Such an elusive guy, let him run away, and the trouble was endless. He's lucky. Lu Han could only say that, and sighed and smiled again. It doesn't matter. Let him run away this time and let him know my identity. The worst result is to let me kill Uchiha Madara even more. It's more difficult. Uchiha Madara knows that I'm alive and will hide deeper, that's all. Is that so? Tsunade asked, looking like she didn't quite trust Lu Han's comfort. Of course, that's it. Lu Han laughed. Besides, I killed the main body white Zetsu again. Uchiha Madara should vomit blood in anger. Again. Yes, I killed it again. Not long after I was resurrected, I killed the body white Zetsu once in the north of the Fire Country. This body white Zetsu can be recreated, and Uchiha Madara can create a new body white Zetsu. But at a very high price. Quote. Well, I understand. Tsunade nodded, his beautiful eyes glanced at Lu Han, suddenly stepped forward and hugged Lu Han's waist, burying his head in a low voice. It's good that you are back. Half a kilometer to the south, Hyuga Luo Ning, A Li, and the Sword and Shield duo were all gathered there. When Susanoo smashed the ground, they quickly ducked away without being affected. That's Susanoo. Xiao Ali was still full of amazement, obviously not free from the shock when Susanoo appeared just now. Cold, Hyuga Luo Ning muttered. If it was said that there was some illusory reality when I met Lu Han before, then now, it is completely true, then Susanoo is a kind of proof. Someone's here. Ali suddenly turned around and looked at the forest behind him vigilantly. With the rustling sound, 5 or 6 Konoha Anbu ninjas stepped on the tree branches, jumping and approaching quickly. They should have passed by here and heard the battle, so they rushed over to take a look. Although the battle has been fought for a long time and is extremely fierce, it cannot be said that they are slow, because it is 80 kilometers away from Ludu village, which is too far. If it is not a coincidence, the Konoha ninja of Ludu village or not might be aware of the situation here. 6 Anbu ninjas walked through the jungle and finally saw a figure. 4 people, a woman, a child, a masked swordsman, and an extremely majestic suspected non-human. They were all stunned for a moment, then jumped off the tree and knelt on one knee at the same time. I have seen Lord Luo Ning. They naturally know Hyuga Luo Ning, and their current mission is related to finding Hyuga Luo Ning and Tsunade. Hyuga Luo Ning used to be an Anbu ninja. She quit after marrying Lu Han. She was naturally familiar with Anbu ninja. She looked back, frowned slightly, and then said to the person in the lead, Mitsui. Anbu's code name is Mitsui. It was Anbu ninja more than 10 years ago, and now he is a senior in Anbu. It's me, Lord Luo Ning. Mitsui raised his head and said, and immediately brought people closer, and quickly asked, Lord Luo Ning, I don't know Lord Tsunade. Ah, Mitsui's voice stopped abruptly, because he didn't pay attention until now. To the direction that Hyuga Luo Ning and the others were heading north, how badly the forest was destroyed. The damage caused by purely physical attacks is simply incredible. Vaguely, it can be seen that there are 2 figures in the far position on the land that has been completely reduced to ruins. One of them, it seems, is Tsunade. Lu Han and Tsunade stood on the soil slope above the ruins, all turned around and looked in the direction of Hyuga Luo Ning and others. It's the Konoha Anbu ninja. Lu Han said. When Lu Han was still smashing the ground, they had already entered the detection range of the insight map. Because they were orange names, Lu Han could only see them with his eyes when they got close. Identity information. Come on, let's go over. You haven't recognized your son yet. Tsunade said, showing a particularly proud smile. Wait for me to think about it. Lu Han said. Ah, Tsunade was taken aback, then glanced at Lu Han. What are you thinking about? The question of my identity. Lu Han frowned tightly. Now that Black Zetsu already knows my identity, he will tell Uchiha Madara, so there is no need for us to hide it, but Sarutobi Hiruzen has been working with Uchiha Madara for so many years. So. What did you say? Tsunade exclaimed, in disbelief, the staring boss. It's true. Lu Han continued, although I haven't been resurrected for a month, I have already learned a lot. Sarutobi Hiruzen has frequently met with White Zetsu over the years, and White Zetsu has provided him with war information, and even this ninja world war has they started it together, and behind White Zetsu is Uchiha Madara. I guess it is impossible for Uchiha Madara to meet Sarutobi Hiruzen in person, but their cooperation does exist, and Konoha executives all know about it. Jiraiya, Orochimaru they all know. How could this happen? Why is this happening again? He clearly knew who killed you. But why? Tsunade's face changed continuously, frowning and murmuring. It's Sarutobi Hiruzen again, doing heart-wrenching things time and time again. Now, Sarutobi Hiruzen is Hokage, holding Konoha tightly in his hand, and I can't be sure whether he is an enemy or a friend. Luhan frowned. However, the last time I killed White Zetsu, it should have been make Uchiha Madara suspicious of Sarutobi Hiruzen. This time he let Black Zetsu participate in the pursuit of you. He should also have revenge in it. He may have broken with Sarutobi Hiruzen, however. There is no eternal enemy. Only forever. Uchiha Madara planned the attack on Konoha back then, and Sarutobi Hiruzen can still cooperate with him, it can be seen. Luhan shook his head. He is thinking about what time and what way to expose his identity is the most appropriate, in order to have the greatest interests, and he has to prevent being hacked by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chapter 0937_help me. Luhan pondered for a long time, looking at Hyuga Luo Ning, Ali, and several Anbu ninjas over there. His eyes kept changing. Speaking of which, he is the hero of Konoha, and has been deified, known as the greatest ninja since the founding of Konoha. However, all this is false, and it may be very difficult to convert a person's dead reputation into actual power. Easy, it can be difficult. Whether it is easy or difficult is up to one person to decide. That is Sarutobi Hiruzen. As Orochimaru once said, Sarutobi Hiruzen has been in charge of Konoha for decades, and Konoha is already an iron plate in his hands, unbreakable. Moreover, Sarutobi Hiruzen is unshakable in righteousness. He's hypocritical, he's cruel, he's virtuous by any means, but he's all for Konoha. From this point of view, Luhan couldn't attack him either. If Luhan shows up and Sarutobi Hiruzen denies it, saying it's fake, then he has the ability to mobilize the entire Konoha against Luhan. Just don't admit that he is really cold. Make up stories about why he has the power of cold light, and so on. Originally, Luhan couldn't explain the resurrection. We don't have to go back. Tsunade said. He could see Luhan's worries, because Luhan just made it clear that Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Madara cooperated. Conversely, Uchiha Madara is the enemy, then Sarutobi Hiruzen. Konoha is suddenly insecure. I don't want to start a war against Sarutobi Hiruzen, Luhan said thoughtlessly. He has the ability to wage war on Sarutobi Hiruzen. He can muddy the water first, but he can win over some people in Konoha, such as Orochimaru, Uchiha clan. He can even unite with Xiao Ai, who is already the fourth generation of Raikage, to form pressure on Sarutobi Hiruzen both internally and externally, thus causing Konoha to split, and then civil war. With Luhan's strength, if he really gets to this point, as long as he kills Sarutobi Hiruzen, everything will be no problem. However, it's not worth the loss. Uchiha Madara was still hiding in the dark, looking at everything with gloomy eyes. Luhan didn't want to give Uchiha Madara a chance, and Sarutobi Hiruzen, this guy died very early in the original story. Even if Luhan didn't move him, let it develop naturally, Orochimaru will kill him. From the perspective of subverting the world, Sarutobi Hiruzen is just a small role, and he has no role at all. Thinking of this, Luhan couldn't help but glance at Tsunade. Tsunade is very affectionate to Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the original book, even the completely blackened Orochimaru shed tears when he attacked Konoha and killed Sarutobi Hiruzen. It is conceivable how contradictory Orochimaru was at that time, even the cold Orochimaru, not to mention the emotional Tsunade. Wait for now, Sarutobi Hiruzen, I hope you don't provoke me, wait until I kill Uchiha Madara, Luhan whispered in his heart. He made a decision. Archenemy Uchiha Madara. Kill him first. Can't let him explain everything smoothly and die with peace of mind. You go. Luhan tilted his head to Tsunade and explained in a low voice. Tsunade nodded and said nothing, while Luhan disappeared. Tsunade quickly ran towards Hyuga Luoning and the others, jumped for the last time, and got to them. Hyuga Luoning just said. It's alright, let's go back. Tsunade quickly interrupted Hyuga Luo Ning's words and gave Lu Han a wink. Hyuga Luo Ning was stunned for a moment, then shut up knowingly. The two have lived together for many years and are very tacit. Seeing her mother's appearance, Xiao Ali seemed to understand something, but obediently didn't say anything. Lord Tsunade, that was. Mitsui couldn't help but asked, and glanced in that direction. Tsunade glanced at him and looked at him without speaking. Mitsui lowered his head wisely, not daring to meet Tsunade's eyes. Well, don't ask if you shouldn't. Tsunade and the three of them followed Anbu's many ninjas to Ludu village, while the faceless man and the barbarian shield soldiers stayed where they were, motionless. Before Mitsui left, he looked back at the faceless man in confusion, but didn't say anything. Shortly after they left, Lu Han appeared in front of the sword and shield duo, looked at the insight map, and looked at the direction where they were leaving, and finally put away the two puppets. Meow. The shadow cat appeared out of thin air on Lu Han's head and shook its tail. Lu Han raised his hand and touched it, and instructed, look for the body of that white guy, let's find it together, hurry up. Meow. Shadow cat responded. It began to flicker and disappear frequently on the ruined battlefield, as did Lu Han. Kill white Zetsu again. The body also contains a lot of Senju cells, which must be collected and not wasted. ... After half a day, underground. Black Zetsu can't remember how long he has used the Mayfly technique, and he doesn't know how far he has escaped. He is about to run out of fuel. The injuries on his body and the chakra that is about to run out make him closer to death. The closer. But he still didn't stop because he could feel that he was very close to Uchiha Madara. He dare not stop. Because he is afraid that he will lose consciousness in the wild. In that case, he is likely to fall asleep. Without the help of Uchiha Madara, he does not know how long he will fall asleep before he wakes up, and it will delay his plan to resurrect Mother. This is the key. His assistants, Uchiha Madara, who is already on the verge of death, would not be able to arrange everything at all. Black Zetsu has spent decades in the plan to revive the Mother, and once he falls asleep in the wild, this plan may fail. He doesn't want to. Never fail. After an unknown period of time, light suddenly appeared in front of Black Zetsu who was walking through underground cave. The light of the torches gathered in the area in the middle of the cave, where there were two people, the old Uchiha Madara, and Uchiha Obito. They were playing chess. Uchiha Madara looked in a good mood, instead Uchiha Obito, somewhat lifeless. Black Zetsu suddenly appeared from the side of the cave by the pool of water against the stone wall. Uchiha Madara felt it, just dropped the chess piece in his hand, and then frowned suddenly got up and turned around and asked, "What's wrong with you?" He felt that Black Zetsu at this moment, the breath of life was extremely weak. "Save me." Black Zetsu made a weak voice and fell down beside the pool. Chapter 0938_Persuade. Uchiha Madara's face changed dramatically. Her face was incredible. How could it be possible? What happened to Black Zetsu to become like this? Working in secret for decades, it can be said that Black Zetsu has seen and experienced everything, but it has never happened. Without thinking about it, the old Madara ghost appeared beside Black Zetsu, lifted Black Zetsu, and light burst out from his hand. The power of yin and yang escape. Black Zetsu's body. The result made Uchiha Madara even more shocked, because Black Zetsu's body was about to spread and was extremely unstable. The reason for using the word spread is because Black Zetsu is essentially a conscious body. Once he spreads, the two as a result, sleep or die. What's wrong with him? Uchiha Obito asked, walking behind Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara did not speak with a gloomy face, turned and disappeared with the unconscious Black Zetsu. He was going to the place where Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, was placed, using the power of yin and yang to escape and inside Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, life force, save Black Zetsu. Obito watched Madara disappear, blinked one eye, returned to the square table without saying a word, knelt down, and began to set the chessboard by himself. He didn't know why he was still alive. Become such a person that he is not a ghost or a ghost, and he needs to receive treatment every day. He has heard Madara talk about the Eye of the Moon project, but he doesn't take it seriously. He still has a few thoughts about the old ancestor of Uchiha Madara. He was distracted, but in fact, at the moment, his heart was more at a loss, so he didn't care much about things that had nothing to do with him. At dusk, Yuhi Kasumi hangs in the sky like a blood-colored curtain. This time in the noisy Ludu village is also the most lively moment. The business of the restaurant and tea house is booming. The news that there was a ninja battle dozens of kilometers away has spread in Ludu village and has become the focus of discussion. The battlefield is there, and anyone who passes by will see it. Rich area, independent mansion. The entire Ludu village is Konoha's property. This mansion was not sold before because of its high price. After Tsunade and others arrived here, they moved in directly. Konoha Anbu originally wanted to invite Tsunade to live in the ninja residential area, of course. Rejected by Tsunade, Tsunade also expressed that he didn't want anyone to disturb him and didn't need Anbu's secret protection. Her words, of course, are useful. Even if she has left Konoha, is not a Konoha ninja, and broke up with Sarutobi Hiruzen, Anbu will respect her respectfully, because she is a medical saint, the wife of the legendary ninja Han Guang, not to mention that she also has Han Guang's only son. Speaking of which, the conflict between Tsunade and Sarutobi Hiruzen, for the following ninjas, it was a fight between gods, and they just watched the fun, gossip, and other things. It should be respectful or respectful, and protection should be protected. Decorate the luxurious wooden building, lobby. Because it was very dark outside, all the candlesticks in the lobby were lit. The pale-faced Hyuga Luo Ning was serving the guests as the host, and the guest was the first team captain of Anbu, Hyuga Bonin, who was also injured. After escaping 2.5 days ago, Bonin Hyuga rushed back to Ludu village. At present, because Anbu captain Hitaki Taishuo is not here, and Orochimaru, the supreme commander who was temporarily appointed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, is not here, so the current ruler of Ludu village is Hyuga Bonin. You really don't need it. You are very poisoned, if you delay it any longer. Hyuga Bonin sent an invitation again. He hoped that Hyuga Luo Ning could return to Konoha for treatment. No, it's safe here. My sister will cure me, thank you Uncle Bonin. Hyuga Luo Ning said with a smile. She and Hyuga Bonin are not only of the same clan, but also very close in blood. People are the same ancestor. Therefore, Hyuga Luo Ning respects Hyuga Bonin very much. This is the elder. I'm not worried about Tsunade-sama's ability, but just go back to Konoha, it's still not safe outside. Hyuga Bonin persuaded again. Hyuga Luo Ning shook her head gently and said again, listen to my sister. Bonin Hyuga glanced in the direction of the kitchen. Tsunade didn't receive him and kept busy in the kitchen. Xiao Ali is also in the hall, sitting at a round table not far away, staring at the shadow cat crawling on the table with big eyes. After all, he is a child, and he still likes furry cute things. Hyuga Bonin retracted his gaze and sighed. In fact, the real purpose of his coming here today is to persuade Tsunade and Hyuga to return to Konoha. This involves a secret mission. In Sarutobi Hiruzen's original plan, he sent elites to rescue Tsunade, and then asked Tsunade to return to Konoha to borrow money from her. Now, Tsunade was not saved by Konoha. According to reports from Mitsui and others, Bonin Hyuga knew that Tsunade was rescued by a mysterious ninja with terrifying strength. And no matter who that person is, what matters is that Tsunade wasn't saved by Konoha, so it's not good to borrow money. Is that a lie? Well, I'm 9 years old this year. Looks like Tsunade-sama. Yeah, but my sister still wants him to be more like his father, but boys are always like mothers. When Ali heard the two talking about him, he tilted his head and gave them a childish smile, and then started to tease the cat again. Hyuga Bonin has seen the shadow cat, but he is not surprised, because Orochimaru also came to the country of Vortex to find Tsunade, and his ninja cat found Tsunade in advance, which is normal. After a few gossip with Hyuga Luo-ning, Hyuga Burnin got up and said goodbye. Hyuga Luo-ning did not intend to leave him to eat together, which disappointed him. He just wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to eat together to talk to Tsunade, but he didn't have a chance. Hyuga Luo-ning got up and went to the kitchen. Ali was still teasing the shadow cat, scratching its tail. The shadow cat finally couldn't take it anymore, jumped on Ali's head, and started scratching his hair, and quickly grabbed Ali's hair into a chicken coop. Ali also smiled, as if he found it very interesting. The shadow cat suddenly stopped moving, looking frightened, tilted his head to look at the figure suddenly appearing behind. Lu Ling looked at the shadow cat. The shadow cat lowered his eyebrows to pleasing to the eye. Ali felt unusual, looked back, and then stood up suddenly, becoming very restrained, and lowered his head. Dad, Dad. Chapter 0939_say it again, who? A very unfamiliar name, Xiao Ali called very unnaturally, and before Lu Han came back and showed up, Tsunade and Hyuga Luo-ning had already educated Xiao Ali and told him, if it wasn't like this, he might not be able to can export the name, Dad. In Ah-chen, his father, Han Guang, is an unparalleled existence and a legendary hero. Although he hadn't seen it before, he had been fascinated by his eyes and ears since he was a child. He had heard his mother tell his father's story, and he had seen other people's expressions when they mentioned the cold light. Ali is very proud to have such a father. However, because of such emotional thoughts, when Lu Han appeared in front of him alive, he was a little afraid to recognize it, not to mention that he had some misunderstanding with Lu Han before, and some ridiculous things happened. Xiao Ali stood at the table with his head down, looking uneasy. The shadow cat was still standing on top of his head, brushing his hair. He looked very careful and paid attention to Lu Han's eyes. Don't call me big brother. Lu Han approached and smiled. Then, Ali's face suddenly turned to Yuhi. He didn't know what to say, he was very embarrassed. Tsunade heard movement in the hall and stuck his head out of the kitchen to watch. Remember, I said, you will be beaten. Lu Han said again. Then, can I fight back? Ali raised his head and asked, looking like he was seriously thinking about getting beaten up. No, Lu Han replied. Oh, Ali lowered his head again. When I beat my son, generally speaking, I don't consider whether my son has human rights or not, especially when my son is still young. If he resists, he will run away and hide. He really dares to turn his back on his father. The end will be miserable. Of course, Lu Han wouldn't beat a child for no reason. Ali was indeed wrong. Lu Han suddenly raised his hand and patted Ali's shoulder. Ali shook for a while, bowed his head and looked resigned. Can he fight back? Cannot. Can you run? Definitely can't run away. What else can I do? Accept your fate and wait to be beaten. Okay, you're all scared by you. Tsunade, who had been looking at the situation, couldn't help but gave Lu Han an angry look. Ali is still young. Lu Han glanced back at Tsunade, then glanced at Ali out of the corner of his eye, pointed at Ali, and put on an expression of, I'll take care of you later, and then walked to the side of the stairs, at the same time shouting loudly. Said, Luo-ning, follow me upstairs, I'll see your injury. Come on. Hyuga Luo-ning in the kitchen responded, and hurriedly came out with a plate containing sushi, put the plate in Tsunade's hand, and went upstairs with Lu Han. It was not until the figures of Lu Han and Hyuga Luo-ning disappeared above the stairs that Ali showed a relieved expression. Late at night, somewhere in the ninja world, underground. Cave is huge, the shadow of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is drawn obliquely under the light of the torches. Most of the cave is in darkness, only a small area, you can see the stone platform, can see the figure. After a series of rescues by Uchiha Madara, Black Zetsu finally regained consciousness. Yin and Yang done plus Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, plus Senju Hashirama cells, the three combined into one, have the power to heal almost everything. Therefore, Black Zetsu woke up, and his body the injury is not a big problem. Uchiha Madara looked very tired, and the side face under the dim light was full of gloomy colors. Black Zetsu sat up from the stone platform, still looking weak. What happened? Who hurt you? Uchiha Madara asked hoarsely. Black Zetsu looked at Madara, paused before spit out the name, Cold Light. For a moment, the air seemed to freeze. Uchiha Madara's expression froze, as if he had been immobilized. He looked at Black Zetsu, and gradually revealed an incredible expression. His expression gradually twisted strangely, the corners of his mouth quivered, and it took a while before he made a sound, and said in surprise, "You say it again." Who? Hanguu. Black Zetsu's voice was heavy. It's him. The Hanuong who died 10 years ago. He's back. I don't know why he came back, whether it was his resurrection or his special state when he died. But I can sure, it's him. It's him. Cold Light. Uchiha Madara's voice became very sharp, and then lowered his voice again, saying, Cold Light. Cold Light. It is very likely that he has mastered the mystery of life and death. He can be resurrected. Black Zetsu made the boldest guess. Han Guang. Alive. He. Alive. Uchiha Madara turned around slowly, paced slowly, walked back and forth, chanting words in his mouth. Black Zetsu's injury suddenly didn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter what happened before. When Uchiha Madara heard the name Han Guang, he didn't react, but now that he reacted, there was only one thought left in his heart. How did he live? For Uchiha Madara, who survived until today by relying on Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, how Han Guang survived is the most important thing. The meaning of life and death. Uchiha Madara has no doubts about Black Zetsu's judgment on death. After Han Guang died 10 years ago, Black Zetsu went to confirm Han Guang's body and confirmed that Han Guang was really dead. And now Black Zetsu says the Cold Light is alive again. If these two things are correct, it means that Han Guang is resurrected. Pu became a little confused, finally stopped, looked at Black Zetsu and said, "Say, what happened? Start over." "I took Hanzo." Black Zetsu began to tell. He determined Hangguang's identity mainly by detecting Lu Han's chakra, but there were multiple testimonies, such as Hiraishin's technique, knife technique, his maintenance of Tsunade, and Tsunade's fear of blood has been cured without medicine. Then, Tsunade suffered from hyperphobia because Hangguang died, which is a heart disease. Therefore, Tsunade's hyperphobia can be cured only if Hangguang is suspended from death or comes back to life. White Zetsu died again. Hanzo is missing. These are two very important pieces of information, but after listening to Black Zetsu's remarks, Uchiha Madara didn't ask any further questions. He started walking back and forth again, muttering, murmuring, and a little nervous. Black Zetsu understands why Madara is like this, because he understands Madara's thirst for life. After a long time, Madara suddenly stopped and asked, "Where is that ninja named Uzumaki Kushina now?" Chapter 0940 His greatest weakness. Uchiha Madara is asking such a stupid question. Why did it get involved with Uzumaki Kushina? Black Zetsu certainly knows who Uzumaki Kushina is, having become a five-tailed Jinchuriki, column force 12 years ago, and 9 years ago, not long after Tsunade left Konoha, she also left Konoha. This is just a small role. In the past 10 years, Uchiha Madara took the initiative to ask Uzumaki Kushina for information in the year that Han Guang died, and he never asked again. Why ask? Uchiha Madara has thought about it carefully. He just thought about it for a long time, and he has a very complicated mental process. The first thing he thought about was whether Hangguang was really resurrected. Then how did the Cold Light come back to life? The meaning of his master's life. What if he could obtain the resurrection ability or the profound meaning of life that he masters? If I get Hangguang's undead ability, can I be immortal? Han Guang will definitely not hand over his abilities to me. How can I get him to hand over his abilities obediently? Kidnapping Tsunade is a good way. For Tsunade's sake, Han Guang can even give up his life. It's easy to extort an ability, but now that Tsunade is with Han Guang, it is very difficult to kidnap Tsunade. It's better to go directly to Han Guang to fight. Uchiha Madara thought about it like this and finally came up with Uzumaki Kushina. After Han Guang died 10 years ago, Uchiha Madara understood that Han Guang is very emotional and this is his greatest weakness. This made Uchiha Madara very emotional, and he also specially asked White Zetsu to investigate the love story about Hangguang and Tsunade, as well as other people around Hangguang. Because of this, Uchiha Madara has a comprehensive understanding of the relationship between Han Guang and Uzumaki Kushina. Very complicated. First of all, Uzumaki Kushina is the first direct disciple of Han Guang, and secondly, it is not just a disciple, but a daughter, an adopted daughter. Although there is no name for this, Kushina does call Hangguang dad in public, mostly when she is angry. And there is also evidence that Uzumaki Kushina has a love for Han Guang. This kind of thing was only revealed in the year or two before Han Guang's death. At that time, Kushina was 12 or 13 years old. To sum up, Uzumaki Kushina followed Han Guang at the age of 6, and was raised by Han Guang. The relationship between the two was very deep. It can be said that Han Guang is Uzumaki Kushina's closest relative. At present, several of Han Guang's close relatives, the eldest wife Tsunade, the young wife Hyuga Luoning, and the son Li, have all reunited with Han Guang, and it is very difficult to start, and Uzumaki Kushina is left behind. Uzumaki Kushina. Black Zetsu frowned and muttered the name before recalling. The last time she was found and recorded, she was in the Land of Thunder 2 months ago. Uzumaki Kushina is a Jinchuiki column force of 5 tails no matter what. If it's okay, White Zetsu won't take the initiative to investigate her, but if she accidentally sees it, she must record it. Land of Thunder. Uchiha Madara squinted. Kumogakure village. No, Black Zetsu replied. I didn't find her in Kumogakure village, but in a commercial village in the northern coastal area of the Land of Thunder. However, she has a good relationship with Reikage Ai, the 4th generation of Ai's. The direct disciple of her, so if she is still in the Land of Thunder, she will probably go to Kumogakure village. Quote. Uchiha Madara slowly looked away, his eyes flickered, he turned around subconsciously, he was thinking. I'm going to Konoha to confirm and see Hangguang's tomb. Black Zetsu said, although I'm almost completely sure that it's Hangguang, it's better to make sure. Besides, Hangguang's identity is disguised, and the weapon he used is Dakuang. No, he was the one who killed White Zetsu for the first time. In other words, he was probably not sent by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not break with us, we wronged him. Over the years, Sarutobi Hiruzen has killed a lot of people in Hangguang, and only one of Hangguang's die-hard loyalists is Hitaki Taishuo. Others, even White Fang, were forced to death by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Therefore, he will definitely guard against Hangguang. It's a great threat. Sarutobi Hiruzen will treat the cold light as an enemy. Besides, before Han Guang killed White Zetsu for the first time that day, I cheated him. He admitted in disguise that he was sent by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now it seems that he is likely to take the initiative to frame Sarutobi Hiruzen. I hope we break with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Han Guang should be after being resurrected, through some means. I know what Sarutobi Hiruzen has done all these years. Quote. I am very suspicious now that Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't know about the resurrection of Hangguang at all, and Hangguang has been hiding. Otherwise, for his own benefit, Sarutobi Hiruzen should inform us about the resurrection of Hangguang. So this time I went to Konoha. One is check out the Hangguang tomb, and the second is to contact Sarutobi Hiruzen to see his attitude. Quote. After Black Zetsu finished speaking, the cave fell silent. Uchiha Madara didn't speak for a long time. He was thinking about a lot of things now. Because of the resurrection of the cold light, everything suddenly became difficult because the cold light was too strong. Black Zetsu mentioned before when explaining the incident, Han Guang has not retreated, his strength is still so terrifying. The resurrected cold light is still the strongest in the ninja world. There is such an enemy, if he can't deal with it in time, even if Uchiha Madara finds the inheritor of his will, he will not be able to die in peace. Cold light destroys everything. And it is very, very difficult to get rid of the cold light. Uchiha Madara has even begun to think about how to seal the cold light. Yes, it's a seal, not a kill. Because cold light is likely to be immortal. If you die, you can live, but you don't die. By the way, there is one more thing. Ju suddenly said, frowning slightly. What? Madara turned to look at Black Zetsu. White Fang's tomb. Last month, White Fang's tomb was stolen. Even the coffin and the body were gone. Black Zetsu said something. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed, then took a deep breath and said, "You mean, Han Guang stole White Fang's body, he wants to resurrect White Fang." Both are smart people, and both think very fast. It's very likely, otherwise it's too coincidental. White Fang's abilities are very orthodox. There is no Kekkei Genkei, there is no special secret technique, his corpse has no value, so others will not steal his corpse.